Hello, everyone. Hold on, I'm just fiddling around because this is the first time I'm doing TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. So I don't know if everyone sees me okay. Oh shit, wait. Wait, hold on. Why is that appearing on here? Ooh. Oh, wait. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Right. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hello, everyone over on Twitch. Hello, people on TikTok too. Hello, MC Secular. Yeah, morning. Hello, Scouty Paws. Hello, everyone over there. Hello, Adam. Sorry, I'm a bit confused right now because I have three things going all at once. I'll try my best to keep up with everything. I did say debates normally wouldn't eat into this, but I've had to go live slightly later today due to some other issues involving the internet, but it should be fine now. If some of you aren't so interested in the debate related stuff, then you don't have to watch over on YouTube. I'll be back to normal stuff at like 5 p.m. So yeah. But hello everyone over on TikTok, and hello everyone over on other platforms. Hello from Oz, as in Australia. Is that what you're saying? But hello. I don't want to be showing myself there. Good morning, everyone. There is no debate. We'll see. If no one joins, no one joins. As we've already had one person request, but we talked to them yesterday, so unless there's no one else requesting for the foreseeable, I don't know. Is my internet doing okay as well? Am I really laggy or anything? Debating who? Just random people on Instagram. On TikTok, sorry. Yeah. Crash Out Snark. Is your name Crash Out Snark as like an indictment to H3H3? Nice. We have a few Australians who are big fans of the Chris K YouTube channel. Do you say there's lag? Clean stream here. Cool. Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. I think my PC can handle it. But yeah. Top of the morning. Hello. It's also weird. You guys are probably seeing me full screen. Also, I really don't want chat to be that big. What's that? Oh, desktop. Oh, no. Hold on, just fiddling with some stuff. The chat feels too big. I don't know if that's because... chat overlay. Why won't it let me fiddle with the chat size? There we go. Right. Netanyahu, Mia Dod. What do those words even mean? I have no idea. This is a minefield, brother. Good luck. Don't worry, I do this all the time. Clean stream. Hi, everyone. Hope you're safe and well. I am indeed safe and well. It should be fine. I can't see any issues that are foreseeable. It's just I have too many tabs open. Are you serious? Debate me in DMs. I'm not going to debate you in DMs. That you're just going to DM me what and that I'm going to respond to you via DM. No, I'm not going to be doing that. Hello to all the regular viewers over on Twitch and YouTube. Don't worry, this won't be a regular occurrence. I'm just doing this for a little bit. But yeah, the expectation that I'm going to debate you in DMs is frankly one of the most insane things I've ever heard. That I'm just going to talk to you in DMs. I'm good. You can come up now, or that's it. But I've seen so many other people doing this, so yeah. I just thought it's a good idea, especially on days like today when there isn't so much news, but it does seem to all work. We'll see. We had that opinionated girl trying to join yesterday. I doubt she'll request to join today, but it remains to be seen. I don't know. I've sent a formal invitation. What's the formal invitation? God, you do see some interesting things. When do you usually go live? About 3:30 UK time on Twitch and YouTube. I'd regularly do that. My Twitch is just my name, Chris K Live, and I'm live there right now doing this. Hold on. I hate it when people spam that stuff out. Chris's hair looking good. Thank you for your nice words. We'll see what happens with joining. Every day? No, not every day. I'm not consistent enough of a streamer to do every day. I'm not consistent enough at all. One day maybe I'll do that, but I don't know, I do a podcast as well, and that takes up time. Also, please don't spam share the live. It's really annoying. It just completely destroys the chat, so please don't do that. I'd request. Hello, MKMT. Hello, everyone who's over there. And once again, as I say, if you're not interested in this, at 5, I will be there. And yes, I did see that Ukraine attacked an Iranian ship. That's why I'm going to talk about that later. That's like the only news. It's just yeah. It's just, yeah, a little bit slow today. But we move. We've had one person request. How many chats are you looking at? 3? It's not too bad. I normally look at 2. This one's just an extra. But I won't be looking at this chat as much because I'll be debating on here and I won't be looking at all chats as much. Yeah, so it's not the end of the world. My friend is going to join the British Gurkha. Cool. Have a good day. Thank you. Thank you, Casey, for letting me know you completely agree with them. I love you. What kind words? See, that's the kind of stuff that you don't do over on YouTube. You don't send to me, I love you. Can we debate Israelis again? What do you mean? Well, I'm hoping that's kind of the point of what I'm doing. We'll see, though. Perpetrating a genocide. Perpetrating genocide. It says that above me, does it not? Or is it cut off? I hope Iran holds firm. Iran holds firm on what topic? I don't know. Do you believe that there are good people in Israel? What does that mean? Is that there are good people in Israel? Sure, Ilan Pape lives there, and I'm sure that there are other people who are nice there, but on the whole, Israel is a genocidal society, I would say. I won't generalize it to every single person there, but most people are. Yeah, Chris's live call-in arc. Yeah, maybe one day I'm just going to run a call-in show where you guys call in and I give you financial advice. I don't know if you'd like that. I don't know if that's your dream. Was Chris debating on TikTok? I'm debating on TikTok right now, technically, Scythe, but not really right now because I'm waiting to see if anyone joins. We'll see. So it's, yeah, it's just, I figure when there's not that much news, it makes kind of sense to do it because what am I meant to do when it's a slow news day? The good people in Israel are called Palestinians. Yeah, that's what someone said to me. Have you seen Israel's PM statement towards Mamdani? Yeah, we talked about it on my live stream yesterday. I just came back from Turkey with my family. I was going to die because it's next to Iran. I mean, I'm not so sure that it's too dangerous in Turkey. Should I invest in Trump coin? I'm not going to give you any financial advice. I will not be giving you, the situation between the Houthis and the Saudis. Interesting, to say the least. I mean, it's pretty amazing with what little equipment the Houthis can cause problems to global shipping, and the fact that they set Saudi oil fields on fire, it's pretty unbelievable. I think Saudi should end the siege of Yemen and come to some kind of agreement with them and stop, and stop the blockade. Hashtag end the blockade of Yemen. Okay, we've only had one person to request so far who's like a pro-Israel person. Nikki Brooks. Nice, thank you. What do you think of Israeli citizens? Well, what do you mean? What do I think of Israeli citizens? What do you mean? Slow news day means you have to become the news. Exactly. I'm about to spark a diplomatic incident. Would you say the United States lost to Iran? Yes. Yes, I would. I would say that they lost to Iran. I think it went awfully. Wilf Lover, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Hope he's doing well. He was always a nice guy. Wondering if you blame all Israelis or just the government. Well, I think a lot of them bear quite significant responsibility, but, yeah, it's not just this government in Israel specifically. This is a way longer standing problem and issue and thing. Invite Netanyahu to debate. I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu is going to come on my live stream. I really don't think he's that interested. US is just as guilty. Yeah, I mean, many other countries. To be honest, under Trump, it really has become the US-Israel genocide. But before that, the US was the big partner, but, all these European nations were in. Also, today is Chavez's birthday. I love burgers! Oh, wait, that wasn't meant to play twice. Hold on, let me just fix that. Hide, lock. Hey, thank you for subscribing at tier 1 over on Twitch. Thank you for supporting the channel. Muck Secular. Thank you very much for supporting the thing. You should visit Lebanon one day. Maybe. Do I have to be 18? Yes. Is Deji in favor of socialism? I don't know. Well, we've only got one person requesting to join, so... Hello?
Yeah, how's it going? How's it going?
It's fine, thank you. Wait, yeah, it's fine, thank you.
So basically, you represent a medieval kind of Jew hater. You know, you don't like the word anti-Semite by generalizing. You know, Israel as everyone is basically genocidal, and so you have a problem with Jews in general. You don't have a problem with the government, Israeli government. You have a problem with Jews. You have a very basic stereotype every single Israeli, every single Jew, I guess, as some kind of evil monster. So that basically you continue an old European tradition of generalizing and having a very, a negative view of Jews.
I mean, first of all, that doesn't really make sense because obviously I don't hate Jewish people because of their
You
immutable
do.
characteristics. Hold on. You can't just scream and shout, okay? I don't hate people because of their immutable characteristics, okay? And when it came to medieval anti-Semitism, they hated Jewish people because they weren't Christians. I dislike Zionists because it is a political belief.
No, Zionism is just another reason to hate Jews. That's all it is.
Well, I mean, if it's because of their actions, the actions of people who are Zionists, then it's okay to dislike someone because of their political beliefs.
But again, in history, the Europeans always found a reason to hate Jews. You know, every generation, every century.
Okay, why did Germans hate Jews? Well, Nazis.
You tell me.
Well, you're the one who's come on and said that my ideology is the same as every other anti-Semite from history.
Yeah, you as a European figure, I would say, yeah, you continue. You were born in Europe, I guess. You have European views.
Okay, what of it?
Compared to Europeans in general hate Jews.
Well, the fundamental thing is when the Nazis were spreading hatred against Jewish people, when the Nazis were exterminating Jewish people, had Jewish people done anything?
Again,
had they done anything? Had they done anything?
Again,
had they done anything?
No.
What did the Nazis actually say about Jewish people?
No, you justify what the Nazis did, I guess, as well.
What did the Nazis actually say about Jewish people?
They did many awful things, obviously.
Exactly. So the Nazis were making up insane paranoid conspiracy theories about Jewish people. I dislike the state of Israel because of the fact that it is a genocidal settler colony.
Yeah, but the fact that you generalize...
You must understand that there is a fundamental...
You basically continue...
Excuse me. You must understand that there is like a fundamental difference, okay, between hating Jewish people because of an immutable characteristic that they cannot change, which is their Jewishness, versus disliking Zionists because of their political belief. I have no problem with Jewish people who don't support the state of Israel, who don't sit there and explain to me why it has the right to thieve from Palestinians and kill and harm them. I don't have any problem with those people at all. However, when it comes to people who support the oppression and killing of Palestinians, I don't like them. And if they're Zionists and if they're Jewish, it's totally acceptable to dislike someone because of their political beliefs.
Again, Jewish hatred was always associated with some kind of a logical kind of hatred, meaning Jews do this, Jews are basically capable of doing this. They have certain characteristics that, affect the general society. So you basically continue the same tradition. You characterizing every single Israeli, most Israelis are Jews actually, and you characterizing them with specific characteristics that as a problem to society. That's basically continuing an old medieval tradition of European tradition of Jew hatred. Now you should just be honest about it.
You can say that, but it doesn't make it true. You're talking about medieval hatred of Jewish people, which was because Jewish people...
Yes, in the Middle Ages, they blamed them for, unaliving Christian children and poisoning the wells.
So they made up insane conspiracies about Jewish people, and they didn't like them effectively because Jewish people were not Christians. When it comes to why I dislike Zionists, it's because of their political belief. It is very reasonable to dislike someone because of their political ideology and the problems and qualms that I have with it because of the violation of human rights. It is not reasonable to hate Jewish people in the way that the Nazis did, but because they blamed them for every ill of German society, the loss of the Second World War, and all of that kind of stuff. Or it is totally unacceptable to hate Jewish people historically as Christians did because they were not, because they were not Christian. That's unacceptable. That's immoral. That's unjust.
But let's be honest, you as a European, you have been exposed.
What do you mean, me
since
as a
childhood.
European?
as a European, I'm talking to you as a European. You have been exposed, obviously. I mean, you would agree you have been exposed to Jew hatred and Jewish,
No.
stereotyping
There's
Jews.
one group of people in European society like the UK who are much more protected by our governments, by our
Again, that's the
legislation
government. I'm
than
talking
anyone
about the
else.
perception.
Than
Let's
anyone
talk about the
else.
perception.
Wait, wait, wait,
Let's
wait,
talk
wait.
about.
Racism against Muslims, immigrants is way, way, way larger than bigotry against Jewish people. That is way more that is way more acceptable to be hateful
That's something
towards
new. That's something new,
immigrants.
obviously,
Yes, yes,
because
yes.
the
But
Muslim
that's
today.
yeah, I'm 25 years old. During my lifetime, that has been what is acceptable. I wasn't born in the 1930s. Hating Jewish people and anti-Semitism was deemed unacceptable after what happened in the Second World War.
So let me ask you. Let's go back to Germany today, modern day Germany. What's the perception of Jews in modern day Germany?
What's the perception of Jews in modern day Germany?
Yeah,
I
among
mean,
the youth.
in modern day Germany, I would say that it's like pretty much like we fucking love Israel.
Okay, that's all political. I've seen many studies done, among basically talking to the youth in Germany, and they have a very negative views. You basically
But
a
the thing
schmatzy
is
views of Jews.
well,
It
that the
didn't
thing
change.
is wait,
Nothing changed
wait.
basically.
Nothing. It didn't change. It didn't change. But they did change one thing, which is they're not specifically bigoted towards Jewish people now. It's much more towards immigrants. If the Alternative for Deutschland, the far-right party in Germany, was saying the shit and proposing the policies that it had against immigrants and Muslims, if it was talking that way about Jewish people, it would not be allowed to be a political party in Germany. You must admit that. The AfD is Hitlerian, definitely, but the AfD is uses its Hitlerian politics to direct them towards immigrants as opposed to Jewish people.
The fact that you have a platform, maybe being paid. But if you're not being paid, I guess the fact you have an obsession with Israel only, that itself shows a lot.
What does it show?
It shows you have some kind of obsession of hate, of Jew hatred. That's all. I mean, what skin do you have in the game? To be honest, you're not Palestinian, you're not Jewish. What skin do you have in the game? Unless you're being paid by Qatar, but for this daily obsession discussing Israel Zionism shows a lot.
A desire to live in a better and a more just world. Oh, hello? Did my live just crash? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? 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 Hello, Mr. Mark Purim?
You sound good to me.
Okay, well, my obsession and my desire is to live in a more just world.
So the only unjust place you found is Israel, basically.
No, Israel is not the only unjust place. But the problem with Israel is, okay, so let's look at somewhere like the Islamic Republic in Iran. We can both agree that the Islamic Republic engages in repression of its people and human rights.
Why don't you have a platform about Iran?
Well, I think, hold on, but we can both agree that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What does my government, as a British person, have to say about the Islamic Republic in Iran?
They haven't done anything, I guess.
They designated the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps a terrorist organization.
Yeah,
we participate in sanctions against Iran. What does my country do with Israel?
They've been more critical the past, I guess.
They sanctioned a couple of government ministers, Smotrich, Ben-Gvir, but they haven't sanctioned the entire country. They don't condemn the entire military of Israel in spite of the war crimes proliferating. In fact, they arrest our citizens of my country, for protesting against Israel based on the faux claims of anti-Semitism that people like you like to bandy around and just call people anti-Semites because they're against Israel. So you see the difference, right? My country, and especially my government, still clings on odiously to the state of Israel. We still defend it. We still offer it support, diplomatic cover, and act as if it's normal. When it comes to the Islamic Republic in Iran, my government does not do that.
So I guess you should focus on that.
Why should I focus on that? My government's already doing it, mate.
You're not focusing on sanctions, you're focusing by characterizing Israelis as monsters.
Characterizing the Israelis as monsters?
Yes, that's your focus,
well,
your main focus.
What's wrong with categorizing people who exterminate huge amounts of people, run mass torture dungeons for decades as monsters? What's wrong with that?
First of all, I mean, I guess again, I would say it again. As an outsider, you don't see the full picture. I mean, you've never lived in. Have you ever been to Israel?
No.
Again, exactly.
So what?
I guess
Do
you're
you
missing a
think?
certain perception.
Do you think
You're
that?
missing the
Do you really
again.
think, and I would ask anyone on here, do you really think that someone who is like a pro-Israel content creator on here, who goes to Israel on a trip that's paid for by Kufi, that's paid for by, I don't know, some other NGO or whatever the fuck, whoever goes on a trip with them and sees Israel, do you think that they have any better understanding of Israel than me? Because let's be real, they just go on propaganda trips to the state of Israel. It doesn't matter whether I've been there or not. I can read
No,
about
you
it and I
shouldn't.
can
You shouldn't go. No,
understand what
no, you
Israel
shouldn't be
is
paid to
actually
go. No, no,
like.
no.
Also, by the
You
way,
should go on.
I don't think your country
Yeah.
would let me in unless I wanted to do Israeli, unless I agreed to do Israeli propaganda.
Again, if you again, if, would you think you they wouldn't let you in?
Yes, I think Israel
If you
wouldn't
if you
let me
tr-
in.
if you travel, are you on you're on the list? I guess.
I mean, I don't think Israel would let me in because I don't think Israel regularly lets anyone in.
That's the last time I checked. You have thousands of tourists coming in, every day. So I don't know. I don't know why you would have a problem getting in.
Because the Israeli government regularly stops people going in. It holds people at the border. It goes through all of their social media. And if they went through my social media, they'd claim that I was a bigot and that I wasn't allowed into the country.
You never. The problem. You never attempted to go. I mean, you
Okay,
should
who
try at least.
cares? Who cares? What would it change about my
Because
opinion?
it's your
The
main
thing
subject. If
is
something that's your
the
main
thing is
again, it's something that's
if I visited Israel,
yeah.
would I be able to go and see the torture camps? No. Would I want to see the torture camps? No. I'd rather listen to the testimonies of people there and make
But
my
you should go.
mind up
You
about
know what?
them.
You know what? You go through this for one reason only. First of all, mingle with the people. Israelis hit firsthand what they have to say, and also you'll see the equality. From Palestinians living in
But
a beautiful life
the
in
thing
Israel proper.
the thing
You'll be
is
shocked. You'll be shocked by it.
not every form of like discrimination is easily visible from just going and looking and observing someone engaging in something. There are
No, you should
plenty of
talk. You should
laws.
talk.
There are plenty of laws that already exist. And by the way, there are Palestinian organizations that talk about this, that talk about the laws the Israeli government is using to oppress Palestinian people. I've spoken to people who've lived and grown up in Palestine. I've read the works, I've listened to their talks, and all of them point to the fact that they are being oppressed by this never-ending occupation of their land. And I think that that's what decides my opinion. Going to Israel is not going to change it. Plus, it's BDS and
The problem.
fuck
The
going there
problem.
because they all try and make you listen to shitty techno music, and they make you
Yeah, the
spend
problem with
time with
social media.
Clavicula.
The problem with social media, you get a false perception because you always get the extreme view. Obviously, when it comes to debates, you always get the extreme opposite. You don't get the moderate kind of a general view
What's the moderate
of
view in
Israelis.
Israel? Instead of killing everyone, we should expel them. We should just expel them, and that's fine.
No, that's not true. No, that's
That's
not
the
true. No,
moderate view
as
in
long as
Israeli society, that instead of killing all the Palestinians, you should just expel them.
the modern view of Israeli society is basically they want to live in peace, and as long as you don't bother them, they wouldn't, attack you. So that's
Okay,
all it is.
I'll ask you
Basically,
the question.
and that'll be the view of any rational society.
I'll ask you the question that I asked yesterday. If the Palestinians living in the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Gaza Strip said tomorrow, I will put down all of my weapons, we will not engage in any more militancy against the state of Israel ever again, would they all be allowed to come in and be given Israeli citizenship?
No, there's a problem with that because if you give them all citizenship, the status of Jewish identity would be question be
But Israel
um
has de facto annexed the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem. It hasn't moved its settlers into Gaza yet, but there are settlers all over the West Bank, East Jerusalem. They're taking over the land very evidently. Your politicians openly talk about their desires to do it. In Gaza, in fact, you had your Minister of Defense, Israel Katz, talking about setting up Nahal settlements in Gaza, as in military outposts that would eventually be turned into settlements. So this state is immoral from its start because you admit that it can never be equal. It can never have all of the Palestinians welcomed in because they would vote out a state which preferences Jewish people over Palestinians out of existence. And that's a problem to me. I don't think there should be states that are premised on having a certain ethnic quota and having certain privileges for those Jewish people. And by the way, if it was so equal and so lovely for everyone, why is it that all of those Palestinians couldn't have rights there? Because surely they'd just accept and be like, yeah, we all want to live in Israel because it's so amazing.
Again, those Israeli Palestinians, have you spoken? How many Israeli Palestinians have you spoken to?
Okay,
You know,
thank you. What does that change about what I'm saying?
you'll get a very different view. That's all I'm saying. You
Okay,
know,
magnificent.
okay, I guess that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. That was what a nice conversation with a new friend. You can see these are the kind of. Sorry, I do enjoy people's names. Is there anyone trying to come up to debate or? Good evening, everyone. Hello, everyone over on YouTube and Twitch. I hope you're all good. Hold on. I'm just searching something. Give me 1 second. Hello?
Hello?
Why does it sound like you're in some kind of tunnel?
Maybe I am. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just in a living room.
Well, why
If
does
it's
it
not a
have
good connection, we can talk another time.
Well, it just has a horrendous echo.
Oh, well, you know what? Then I'll try another time when there's no horrendous echo. I'm not going to make your show difficult.
Oh, thank you. A lived experience, Chris. I can't believe you're erasing Israeli-Palestinian voices like that. I do apologize. No, this is not Ethan. I'm not debating Ethan Klein. No. Who's in the tunnels now? Yeah, I mean that guy who's just the echo wasn't bad. The echo was horrendous. The echo was very evidently, most people would be like, the echoes are really, really bad. I think it's kind of bad. I think it was very evidently quite bad. Right, is anyone trying to request to join to debate? Is that what people are trying to do, or what? Debating in the on the shitter. I know, that's kind of what it sounded like. Being that sternly polite. Sam Granger. Okay.
Hey yo, what's up?
Hello, what's up?
I kind of liked his echo. It was more like a reverb.
Okay,
But
is that what you got to say?
no. So for your claim number 3, Israel perpetrating a genocide, I was for a while very, very on the side of Israel was perpetrating a genocide, but like I've talked to people who've made me like question it more. And so the big thing for me is like the Doli Specialis of, like needing the intent to like take out an entire group or a part of a group. And I don't think the intent is there because it's so incredibly difficult for them to take out Hamas members only when they are hiding in like dense civilian areas.
Well, first of all, there is quite evident proof that Israel was not targeting Hamas members. There's actually a great article, surprisingly, by The New Yorker that came out really recently. It is incredibly long. I would kind of recommend it. It's called...
Okay.
It's called How Biden Enabled Israel's Aggression Towards Gaza and Iran. There's a part where it mentions how, at the start, Israel was carrying out about 800 strikes per day on northern Gaza. The guy who wrote this article spoke to State Department officials, and I have no reason not to believe him, David D. Kilpatrick, and he said that all of them said that there is absolutely no way that Israel could have known that it was targeting specifically Hamas members, especially that early on. They were carrying out a mass bombardment campaign. If you look at the amount of civilians killed at that point, it is truly unbelievable. By the way, it also mentions, I think, the Saudi bombardment of Yemen. In the Saudi bombardment of Yemen, direct killing via bombardment was about 3,000 people per year, whereas when it came to Gaza, Israel had killed, I think, over 10,000 nearly, maybe even more, by the end of 2023. However, when it comes to this dolus specialis thing, okay, you are hearing this coming from people who are not experts in international law. These are not experts in genocide. These are random people trying to win debates on the internet. So basically, I think, in my understanding, that the argument that South Africa makes is that you can infer intent from the wider actions of the state of Israel, okay? And this is the argument that I tend to be much more convinced of when it comes to genocide. I believe genocide is an attempt to wipe out a people, a culture, and a society. What Israel has done since its inception is attempt to wipe out the Palestinian people. So the very premise of Israel is building a Jewish state in a land that historically was not Jewish. What cannot exist as an alternative to that is another society. That other society is Palestinians. They've engaged in mass ethnic cleansing operations multiple different times. They've engaged in slower ethnic cleansing operations. But since October the 7th, there has been a clear and concerted effort to eliminate the Palestinian people, in part, that part being the people who live in Gaza. They openly state that this is what they want to do. And you can also see it, by the way, in their, not only in their statements, but also their actions. The reason they're not allowing building materials, pesticides, adequate food into Gaza is for the specific reason of expelling the population there.
Well, so I think that ethnic cleansing is something that we could definitely talk about, and I think I can see that being potential for sure. But I mean, you're saying that they've been working towards committing a deletion of these people since the inception of Israel, right? Are you talking about from in the 40s?
From the very inception of the Zionist state, the goal was to build a Jewish state in a land that historically was not Jewish, that had far too large of a Palestinian population to have a state that was Jewish in character.
Well, if we take them from all the way back there, hasn't the population of Palestinians multiplied by 800% since its inception?
Israel has also expelled massive amounts of Palestinians. They expelled something like 750,000 from what is now considered Israel proper, or 48 occupied Palestine. They expelled huge amounts of them.
Well, I mean, I feel like if you were, or it makes sense to me that if you were trying to commit a genocide, you wouldn't let the population grow at such a massive, level in the place in which you're trying not to let it. You know what I mean?
If you make life unlivable and continually expel Palestinians from living in Palestine, what happens to them if they don't live in Palestine as Palestinians, and Israel, the Israeli government, says Palestine doesn't exist, Palestinians do not exist, and they have no right to live there? What happens to them?
I'm the very first part of what you said right there, I didn't catch, unfortunately.
Okay, so if Israel expels Palestinians, says Palestine does not exist, and destroys any chance of there being a Palestinian state, are those people still Palestinians, or has Israel made a concerted effort to eliminate the Palestinian people as an alternative to Israel?
I would say that they would be getting rid of them and taking them out. But I mean, you take the population of Gaza, and it's what percentage of the population of Gaza has been killed? 3%?
Who cares? There's nothing in the Genocide Convention or in the understanding of genocide that says you have to kill any percentage.
I mean, yeah,
There's
that's
no
true. That doesn't say
specific
you have
percent
to.
of people that you have to kill. By the way, saying that 3% of the population being killed, that's fucking insane. Imagine if 3% of the population of the United States was killed. That's 10 million people, right? Or 3% of the population of Britain. What's that? I don't know how many people live here. That's 2.4 million people or something like that?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to necessarily mitigate it or act like that's not a big deal. However, when we're using words like genocide, I feel like it's somewhat reasonable to bring up, how successful has your genocide campaign been
But
going?
the thing
You know
is,
what I mean?
Israel's genocide campaign has been continually constrained by the fact that even though the Biden administration was not really willing to stop Israel from carrying out a mass slaughter campaign, they could not allow them to kill all 2 million Palestinians, then Israel might have actually lost its diplomatic support from the West. However, what Donald Trump has basically allowed Israel to do is engage in a mass expulsion campaign. Trump has openly stated his support for a mass expulsion campaign. For Israel, it doesn't matter whether you kill people or expel them. It has the same end goal, which is removing the Palestinians as an alternative society from land that they have been occupying for decades. That's the goal of what Israel has always wanted to do, to eliminate the Palestinian people as an alternative that could threaten the existence of Israel as a Jewish state.
Well, so I actually do think that this part's a really interesting part of the conversation we're at, which is like the way in which they've been attacking Gaza, right? They have been moving the Palestinians like more and more, out of their homes, destroying more and more parts of the area, right? And they're congesting them into parts that haven't been like turned into rubble, right? So like I think somewhere in there is where we get into like, does it equate or not? But the thing for me is like, is this wouldn't have like had to have been necessary if Hamas, who are the primary targets, weren't in civilian areas, if
Hamas
they had
are
bases,
pretty
if they
evidently
weren't.
not the primary targets, though.
I mean, how I okay, the point that you made earlier on in our conversation, like right at the beginning, about like how there was an article that came out that showed, like at the beginning, how Israel could like, there's no way they could have possibly like necessarily targeted Hamas. Like I hear you there, but at the same time, I feel like how can we determine whether or not they were targeting them or not? I
You could
mean,
look at percentages killed. You could compare it to something like the Syrian civil war, which was over 13 years. The Syrian civil war that most people consider unbelievably brutal, which it most definitely was, and barbaric. That 200,000 civilians died during that over 14 years. Israel killed nearly half of that in just under 2 years, or just over 2 years. It was around that point, I think. It might be like 2 years and a month. Israel killed nearly half of that. And also, if you look at the numbers of women and children, and also, by the way, most of the estimations of civilians, the only people who say that it's like 50-50 and are actually producing estimates are the Israeli government, although Plus 972 and Local Call said that Israel's own data suggested, from the death toll being at about 40-50,000, that that over 80% of those killed were civilians.
dang. So it's so it's estimating that over 80% of the people who have been harmed have been
Killed, not even harmed.
or
Harmed,
yeah,
it would
sorry,
probably
no,
harmed.
no,
It
yeah,
would probably be an just as high a percentage, if not
for
higher.
sure. But so it's primarily civilians. Um, Gosh, is that what's like? Is that more than what like the average civilian to combatant ratio is during wars? Or
What do you mean 80% civilians? During which war?
I
I
mean,
don't
like
know.
in
The Vietnam War,
generally
the Korean
speaking,
War probably have really high tolls of dead civilians. The
right?
Syrian
Exactly.
civil war is about 50%, I think. Currently, the
Yeah, I
war
don't
with
know.
Iran, I believe, is somewhere just over 50%. I think there's been about 3,000 people killed in Iran, and I think there's a report that it's about 1,800 or nearly 2,000 are civilians.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I don't know if that's necessarily like um considerably higher than like what has been seen throughout other wars. You know what I mean?
Okay, which war?
I mean like war, like kind of like generally speaking,
Well,
and
I mean,
also like I would.
killing 80% civilians. If you look at the number of women and children killed in Gaza, it is a really shocking statistic for the proportion of the amount of people killed, and also the number of people killed. Like, I think it's something like about 30,000 women were killed in the no, sorry, 16,000 women were killed in the Syrian civil war. I think that it's a similar number in Gaza, and the total of women and the entire total of the number of civilians killed in the Syrian civil war was 232,195 civilians. And I think that there were nearly as many women and children killed in Gaza.
Yeah, I'm looking it up here, and it's showing that it's 83%.
Most places will say that. The only people saying otherwise are the Israelis, and the Israelis are known to lie. And it's pretty evident as well, by the way, that the killing is only a small part of this. A large part of what Israel has done to Palestinian life is to make it unlivable in Gaza. To make it, destroying all of those buildings, destroying sanitation facilities, water treatment, businesses, offices, news buildings, hospitals, all of this stuff is done with the goal of making life unlivable. That's why Israel does it. It doesn't do it because it's just like some specifically evil or barbarous place that just wants to blow up hospitals. It does it because of a sick logic of trying to expel the Palestinian people.
Yeah. I mean, what would your argument like specifically to Hamas using civilian infrastructure and using the population as human shields? What would your
What do you
argument
mean by that? I don't think Israel has ever proved it in the way that the way that it claims. Israel, by the way, openly uses Palestinians as human shields. It's called the Mosquito Protocol.
So like specifically, I feel like the way that there's like evidence for that is that one, when they are like, you know, doing combat, they're not wearing any kind of uniform, like they're dressed in civilian clothing, and they have 0 military bases. Every single base in which
How could they have a military base when Israel has surveillance all over Gaza? Also, by the way, Israel openly has stated previously its doctrine of killing civilians.
Well, super quick, like you said, you know, how could they have a military base if they have surveillance over Gaza? Exactly. And so they're using civilian infrastructure and locations to do things. And I mean, you can't just, if there's a terrorist group that you're trying to attack, you can't just like not attack them. You know what I mean?
Let me read you. This is from the official Israeli Air Force website, although it has now been deleted. This is mentioned in Plus 972's article, Blame Perez, Not Bennett, for the Qana massacre. So it writes, this is an Israeli doctrine, okay? Operation Grapes of Wrath, which began on April 11th, 1996, took a similar path as Operation Accountability in July 1993, massive bombing of the Shiite villages in South Lebanon in order to cause a flow of civilians north toward Beirut, thus applying pressure on Syria and Lebanon to restrain Hezbollah. There you go. Israel openly admits that its doctrine is targeting civilians. By the way, their claims of human shields don't hold up. There's a BBC article which is great on this because it was published, I think, in 2024. It talks about how Israel said, oh, we hit a Hezbollah command center in Lebanon. They didn't hit a Hezbollah command center. When you looked at who'd actually been hit, only 5 people had any affiliation with Hezbollah's military, and they were all low-ranking people. The rest of the 80 people killed in the strike were civilians. So I would say Israel is killing, on the whole, huge amounts of civilians.
No, I'm not necessarily. I don't necessarily disagree with you on that. And super quick, like, because like I'm trying to continue the conversation, but I just want to say I've appreciated the conversation that we've had so far. I think you've done a great job. But again, like as far as like dealing with the like Hamas targets right now, like how are you supposed to attack them without like attacking civilian areas if that's where they're putting themselves, like that's where they're choosing to you know, do operations?
I mean, if you really wanted to, you could do targeted operations. The problem with Israel is they're too cowardly about losing soldiers. This is actually the same problem that the United States has. So under Obama, drone strikes proliferated massively. Technically, when you do a drone strike and it could risk civilian lives under the US doctrine, you are meant to exhaust every possibility and ensure that said person is like in the active process of threatening American or American allies' lives. Okay, that's how they're meant to do it. They don't actually do that in practice. So if they really wanted to, they could do targeted operations, but realistically, they're scared of losing Israeli soldiers, and they're more than happy to just mass kill civilians. I think the hard truth is Israel should not be engaged in this military campaign at all. I don't think Israel has ever achieved what it has wanted to through its military campaigns. Its military campaigns just end up kicking the can further down the road. It needs some kind of diplomatic solution with the Palestinians. There is no... I don't think we should sit here and act that there's any legitimacy to Israel's military campaigns ever when they never produce what Israel wants, which is ostensibly safety for the Jewish people. It doesn't do that because that's not the aim of their military campaign, because if it was, they'd just engage in negotiations.
Well, hasn't there been like a bounty of like times where they worked towards finding like a solution, whether that be like a two-state solution or something, like at different accord meetings? And
I don't really think so, no.
I mean, so you definitely have like thoughts and opinions on that, because like I know that there's been like I forget all of the like the
There
things,
have
but
been
like there's
negotiations, yes, but like
but you don't really think so.
Let's take Oslo, okay? The Oslo Accords were meant to be this big moment in establishing peace. They were really, really, really meant to be the biggest moment for establishing peace between Palestinians and Israelis, okay? They were celebrated as such. They were an interim agreement to find a solution on other serious issues. After they were signed, Israel's prime minister, allegedly the biggest peacemaker ever, the biggest dove, Yitzhak Rabin, said that I want Palestinians to have less than a state. During the other negotiations with Israel, the Palestinians came on the basis of international law. So this is the case at Tabor and other negotiations, Camp David in 2000. They said, okay, let's uphold international law. We're willing to even recognize some of your settlements, which we should not do. But the Israelis kept on being like, well, no, we need this thing, we need that thing. But they should have absolutely no right to do any of that, because what Palestinians ask for is basic international law. What the Israelis ask for far supersedes that. They are asking for violation of international law.
I mean, I'm looking at because like this is something like I don't have like the most knowledge on, but I looked up Camp David, right? And it's saying that Israel offered 91 to 92% of the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and 1%. They offered swapping 1% of its own sovereign territory to Palestine for compensating for remaining percentages of. I don't really understand what that's saying, to be completely honest. But like where like, for example, with Camp David, maybe you said it and I didn't catch it, but like, would you mind repeating, like, where is this not like enough? You know what I mean?
How much of the land would have the Israelis got in that negotiation?
I mean, based on how it's set up right now, they would have basically just like continued to have what they have now.
78%, and the Israelis still want to quibble over giving Palestinians 22%. Do you not find that weird? That the Palestinians are asking for 22% of the land in those negotiations, and the Israelis are still like, well, wait, we need illegal settlements in your land, we need to take parts of it, we still need to be having control over East Jerusalem, which we don't really have a right to, we get to keep our settlement blocks there. I'm sorry, I will always blame the Israelis more, because they're the ones who came to the negotiations expecting to take so much more land.
When you say 22%, are you talking about the West Bank and the Gaza Strip?
West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem. That's what the Palestinians were asking for under the two-state solution.
Okay, so was the big thing there was beef between them about where they were struggling to like come to a conclusion? Was it on East Jerusalem? Because
East
here it's saying
Jerusalem played a big role. Yes.
Okay, word.
Because also Yasser Arafat couldn't go back to his people after the disaster of the Oslo Accords and just tell them, yeah, sorry, I didn't even get control over Jerusalem.
I mean, I know. I guess that comes to a place where we're saying, you know, is it? I don't necessarily know.
Okay.
To be honest.
Well, we've come to a place where it's like when you're talking about what the Palestinians are asking for is basic international law, whereas what the Israelis are asking for is more than basic international law, more than what they're entitled to. And also, by the way, they kept on building settlements in Palestinian land. They never stopped doing that. I don't think that's really a great overture towards peace if you continue to build your settlements in Palestinian land.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if I really have like much more like to like add to the debate. But dude, I really appreciate you having me on. Let me say, so super quick, there's this, do you know who Nick Matau is?
I do know who he is, yeah.
Dude, if you can get into a debate with him, I think that would be fucking awesome.
I've debated him once before.
Oh, is it on anything?
No, I don't think so. He had like 5 other people up with him. It was a while ago.
Oh, dude, you should do it again. And the reason I'm saying this is because, like anytime I talk to somebody who like clearly, like has a strong stance and like really knows how to explain like their position, I especially on this conflict, which to me is not black and white at all. Like I'm very much so happy to like hear from them. And he's somebody who I think really pushes, some sensible stuff from the Israeli side. He's the whole reason I even like
Do you know he
question it.
sells merch that mocks Palestinians for being low IQ? He's also affiliated with Israeli governmental organizations, like 100% he is. He is not pushing sensible stuff. He is someone who is an extremist who is affiliated with the Israeli government. There is no government affiliated with what I'm saying. Like, go look at what the guy's up to. He goes on propaganda trips to Israel. He went there during Jerusalem Flag Day. You know, Israelis march through the streets of... He went to film Jerusalem Flag Day with his other content creator friends, and they were filming somewhere where Israelis roam through the streets chanting death to Arabs, and some of the Israelis who are interested in peace have to stand in front of Palestinian stores so the Israeli Jewish settlers don't go and smash them up, and they literally chant death to Arabs. Go Google it. It's colloquially referred to as the Death to Arabs March, and he went there to film and say, look how lovely and peaceful this is.
Arabs March. I'm gonna look that up after we
go look it up.
Get off live. But how does he have a government affiliation to Israel?
How do you think you go on those trips to Israel?
I mean, I get like, dude, I literally get ads to come to Israel. Like,
yeah, do you think it's normal to be sent there by Kufi to be at all of these organization things?
I don't know necessarily like what he did in his time in Israel, to be completely honest with you. Like I just watched like a handful of his debates.
Okay, great. Okay,
I don't necessarily know what he's done
well,
there.
thank you for coming up.
Yeah, again, if you go live, I hope I get to, or have any debates with that guy. I hope I get to see him.
Yeah,
Thanks, I
maybe one
appreciate you.
The host is detrimental to peace. Hello, Mr. Overzealots of the Isaac Zale of the Overzealots channel. I heard your podcast has just started doing memberships. Isn't that interesting? At Camp David, Barak was working with an already shrunken map of the West Bank, not the internationally recognized one. So the offer was more like 80% of something. Interesting. And very interesting. And also, by the way, to the person who's saying that I'm detrimental to peace, it's very obvious that the Israelis are the ones who are detrimental to peace. Is there anyone else going to come up and do a debate? This will be the last one of today. Let's talk. What do you want to...
Let's go.
Hello, do you want to debate or what?
Yeah. I wanted to discuss number one. What does it even mean for a nation to even have a right to exist, let alone Israel?
What do you mean? What is it like for a nation
No,
to
what
have
do
the
you-
right to exist? What do you mean?
I didn't say what it's like. I said, what do you mean by that?
I don't think any nation has the right to exist.
Okay. So why is it, so it's just like redundant? Just a throwaway point, number one?
What do you mean? It's not a throwaway point. Israel's the only country in the context in which we discuss it, which is people saying, okay, yeah, the context in which we discuss it is politicians saying Israel has an immutable right to exist. People say, I don't think it has a right to exist, but people do say this constantly. This is actually just said by politicians regularly.
Oh, okay. So you're just saying no nation has the right to exist, including Israel.
Particularly Israel. Yes, Israel is a state founded on the colonization of Palestinian land.
Okay. And you think Israel's the only nation that's discussed in this way?
Pardon? Of course, Israel's not the only nation that was formed in this way. No, there are other examples
Why
of
not?
settler colonialism. Much of the Americas, you also have contexts like Australia, New Zealand. These were places that were founded via settler colonialism. The Nazis tried to do settler colonialism too.
Okay. But you're not against a group of people forming a government, right?
I'm not against a
Inherently.
group of people. It depends what they form the government to get up to. If they're forming a
to
government to kill and
defend their
harm other
borders.
people, then yeah, I don't like them forming governments.
Okay. What about like just defend its land and borders, whatever?
What do you mean to defend its land and borders?
I'm essentially asking you in a roundabout way. Are you against the abolition of nation states
Am I
altogether?
against the abolition of nation states? Yeah,
Or
I
are
don't
you
think we
for
should
the
have
abolition
nation
of nation
states, yeah.
Okay, you want a world government?
A world government. No, I think we should have states as opposed to nations. So a nation state, a nation is the people, the state is the political entity, okay? So my opinion is that you shouldn't have nation states because in nation states, the state serves the nation, which is like the people that it decides fit within that. I think that basically anyone who lives within a state should be served by that state. So you should just have states as opposed to nation states. Israel is a particularly
Okay.
egregious example of this because it has actual laws, written laws that are so clear in their preferential treatment of Jewish people over others.
So you're not against statehood, multiple of them. You want are you against a global state?
What do you mean a global state? I do think human beings should all unite, yes.
No, I'm asking like are you against borders essentially?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't want any borders, right? That just
Yes.
means you either want no borders, no states, or one state.
But if these
That's what
things
that
are
means.
states are political entities which administer certain areas, I don't really care, and they treat everyone who lives in them as equal, regardless of whether they were born there or not, or wherever they were from.
Okay, so like entities like America and multiple nations like 54, 55 nations in Africa, etc., Europe, you would prefer to them not to like dissolve their states and just live peacefully and just have like localities and municipalities
Yeah,
and
I
just like
think
maybe
that would
interact
probably
with
be
each other?
better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought you were trying to say that Israel particularly didn't have a right to exist.
Well,
So maybe somebody else.
Israel does particularly not have a right to exist, but nation states
But if
everywhere shouldn't
no,
exist.
yeah, if no nation has a right to exist, then of course Israel wouldn't.
Well,
I don't
yeah,
know
but
why you
Israel
would-
is also particularly bad because it is an egregious example of this.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah, nothing to talk about that.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you.
No problem.
These haven't been as quite as exciting as yesterday, I will say. I don't think anyone else is requesting to come up and debate. Brother Jonathan has said, Chris, Gemini estimates you've made around 80k off the backs of dead Middle Easterners. Accurate. You keep spamming this. Thank you for your words and your kindness. Is that 80k per year or 80k as a whole? I can do my accounting and get back to you, pal. Thanks for asking Gemini about my net worth. A very interesting thing to be getting up to. That's why everyone should become a member over on Twitch so we can pump that number up. We need to reach 1 billion. So yeah, become a member over on Twitch and YouTube. It's all good. Give me the roses now on here. I don't know. It's just an insane thing to say. Also, what do you think that like all content creators do on this kind of stuff? What do you think? You're saying like I'm using dead Palestinians and Israelis as fuel. What do you think that the news is? What do you think that pro-Israel people do on the internet? What do you think that anyone does who talks about any subject, who does academia? People have interests in topics. What are you complaining about? I watched your live for 100 minutes. Wow. Well, I haven't been live for 100 minutes, so that's an interesting one. I don't know if we're gonna get anyone else come up, and if they don't, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else is gonna come up and debate today. We'll see. Also, by the way, I was making videos before October the 7th, so Zoom, are you trying to debate or what? Let me have a look at your profile. I don't think you want to debate. You're like reposting Ezra Klein. And I mean, I don't fancy having a debate about Ezra Klein today. I don't think you want to debate, which is kind of the main thing. And if you come up and just agree with me, then it's not a debate. Can I come up? Well, if you want to come up, you have to do it via TikTok. My TikTok is my biggest thing, so just search Chris Kunzler on TikTok and you'll find it. Will Bibi win the next election? Potentially. Potentially, I don't know. It doesn't look like it's 100% guaranteed. Israel doesn't get its own state because of the Bible. Yes. No, Israel does get a state because of magical 3,000 years. Destiny is pro-Israel for some reason. Yeah. Destiny is pro-Israel. Thank you for the fist bump over on TikTok. Chris, you don't see my 60-day streak. Wow, I did not see your 60-day streak. That is incredible. How dare you try to earn a living related to your years of learning? I know, it's tragic. I mean, if I was posting like slopaganda and just posting utter nonsense about things happening in the Middle East, perhaps I'd feel worse about it, but I studied this for years. Need a left wing. Who's the left wing in Israel? Once again, expulsion instead of killing people. Hassan should be deplatformed. Well, maybe you should ask my YouTube chat about that, because they will probably agree with you. This is anti-globalist guy, and it is going to get real useless very soon. What? Am I an anti-globalist guy? Is Ezra Klein the guy who hates Hassan? No, Ezra Klein doesn't hate Hassan that much. I think it's Ethan Klein. Or not, the moon landing happened, and why the Soviets are the ones... yeah, we can debate about whether the moon landing happened. Yes, I do live in the United Kingdom. I'm a UK liver. Why are leftists scared to discuss Jewish supremacy outside of Israel-Palestine? Because in Israel-Palestine is the only real meaningful manifestation of the concept of Jewish supremacy, where Jewish people are specifically supreme over another race, or are supremacist over another race. Might as well reveal to everyone that you're Muslim. La ilaha illallah. Ya Allah. His statement is empty. What statement is empty? What statement have I given that's particularly empty? Your plants look great. Thank you. They actually need a water right now. Sorry, Isaac is sending me photos. Oh, no. That's very sad. I support Chelsea because it applies to all countries. Well, Israel specifically has the least right to exist because it's premised on thieving land from Palestinians. Let's debate strawberry pasta. When we hit 1,000 members, we can debate strawberry pasta. But until that day, we won't. I just want to say I like your style. Thank you. What a nice words. What nice words. Chris, you are one of 5 goats on the topic. Who are the other 5 goats? If Overzealots is one, then no. Left rat. Yes, I support Chelsea. Your room looks great in general. I know, I need to fix up some stuff, though. It's weird being full screen. Like, look, I'm using OBS virtual camera. Ooh, spooky. Chelsea thing is the one bad thing. Blah, 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 blah. Keep talking. I would like to come up. Well, I don't think you want to debate. I just, that's the thing that the point is to debate on here, but I don't think you want to debate. You can tell by the things, I can tell by the things you repost and such. If you're at work, you should stay at work. Bro, I want to debate. Yeah, fine. You can be the last person to come up. Hello?
Hi. Hello.
What's up?
Hey, what's up? So on Zionism is colonialism. While, I agree that it was, formulated with the British and colonialism and all that, I think it's harmful to describe it as that now.
Why?
because Israelis living in Israel don't have another home. It's not a colony
It
of
is a colony.
another place, and they speak Hebrew there, and they were born and raised there, and they have a connection there. And so formulating as colonialism for people who are native there is harmful because it encourages violent resistance that was similar to resistance in colonies of the British and the French, where they could retreat to their mother homeland, whereas here they don't see themselves as belonging to another homeland. So
I don't think the Pied Noir in Algeria really saw themselves as living somewhere else. But also, I think that Palestinians should have that right because they're the occupied people. They're the ones being occupied by Israelis. So therefore, they should have a right to engage in resistance against the state of Israel should they make that choice, because also Israel is engaged in a militarized oppression against them. So I don't really care about using the word colonialism. Moreover, it's incredibly accurate because Jewish people in Palestine are not native, they are settlers. There is a small amount of Jewish people who would constitute the natives in Palestine in the sense of the fact that they were there prior to Zionist colonization, but it's only a tiny percentage of the population.
Okay, well, you do care about using the word colonialism because, right, it is the point you're making.
Because it describes
And
their relationship with what Israel is doing. So the reason I'm saying is I don't care about it as if it's going to cause some harm to Jewish people is because it's what it actually is.
right, but I think that can you acknowledge that there's an important distinction to be made between British colonialism and general, European colonialism and the current state of affairs in Israel, in which there is no other home country for them to return to? Where would you like the Israelis, the Hebrew-speaking Israelis, to go?
Well, okay, so I will acknowledge that there's a distinction. British colonialism, of course, was grotesque in the sense of it affected so many different people and so many different geographies, killed so many millions of people, and it was repugnant, okay? However, what Israel represents is a different form of colonialism called settler colonialism, which is a form of colonialism rather than being premised on extraction of resources and the exploitation of the local population so long as they don't get in the way. In the context of Israel, it is premised on eliminating the Palestinian people. From its inception up until this day, it has been premised on eliminating the alternative society proposed by the Palestinians. So yes, there is, of course, a distinction between Zionist colonialism and British colonialism, okay? I think that when it comes to Israelis, first of all, you have, I think, the only people that I'm dead set on of they have to go are people who have moved over to Israel from European countries to serve specifically in the military. They have to go. They cannot stay there ever. I think that that is despicable. I think that people who do that should be treated the same way as people who went to join any awful militant organization like the Islamic State or whatever. So in the context of other people, I think if the truth is they're willing to live side by side with Palestinians, then they can stay. But they have to accept no more Jewish supremacy, no more laws that benefit Jewish people specifically.
Okay. All right. So I still think colonialism is just a misnomer in the current day and age.
Why?
Just on the last, anyway, agreed. On the last point, genocide is about intent. So why are you convinced that the explicit intent of the Israeli military is to kill Palestinians for Palestinian state and not, just a very obviously egregiously misguided and, horrific, basically them essentially trying to wipe out Hamas, but, with exceedingly little care for the lives of collateral damage that they're incurring. But that's very different from saying that they are directly targeting Palestinians to wipe them out.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. What did Netanyahu discuss with Trump as his plan openly to do with the people of Gaza?
I don't know.
Well, we do know. They openly were discussing their plan to remove how many millions of people from Gaza? What, about 2 million? Maybe let a couple.
Okay, so that's
100,000
ethnic
stay.
cleansing. That's ethnic cleansing.
But why
I'm
are
saying
why are they doing that ethnic cleansing?
because they want to take over Gaza. Because
But
they
why
see
do they want to take over Gaza?
because they see either because they see it as a security threat to allow Palestinians to live there, or because they have expansionist aims generally, and they want to take over as much land as possible. But in either case, that's different than saying genocide.
Well, I think when you consider it in the context of the wider Zionist project, which is trying to establish a Jewish state which means you basically have to have a Jewish majority. The other major problem is that those 2 million Palestinians living in Gaza, alongside I think it's around 5 million Palestinians living in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, pose too many people for the state of Israel. It may actually be 3 or 4 million. I may be wrong on that number. That's apologies if I am. But together, that number combined with Palestinians who live in Israel represent a threat, because if they were to participate in an Israeli democracy, as it likes to pretend, they would probably vote out of existence what makes Israel a Jewish state, which is Jewish supremacy, which is enforcing Jewish laws on non-Jewish people and privileging Jewish people over people who actually lived there. So I think that that's why Israel wants to eliminate them. I think that that is why Israel, and by the way, this connects to the Zionism is colonialism thing, because that's the problem. Israel cannot have the alternative society proposed by the Palestinians. It cannot, because there are too many of them that would just vote out of existence the state of Israel, were they all to be welcomed as citizens. That's why Israel has been engaged in a slow genocide of the Palestinian people for a very long time. You could even argue, and I think people should make this argument, that something like the family reunification laws inside of Israel are genocidal, because effectively what Israel will do is, let's say there's a Palestinian who lives in Israel proper, if you want to call it that, and someone who lives in the West Bank. Those two people are not allowed to unite together because they're Palestinian, whether that be one of them moves to the West Bank or vice versa. In fact, it encourages them to move outside of the country. Why does Israel do that? Because once they're outside of the country, Israel will do everything in its power to prevent them returning. It loves to do this kind of stuff of preventing Palestinians coming back, whilst allowing every single Jewish person, no matter what their connection is to Palestine, to move there. And this is with the goal of reducing the number of Palestinian people. And in Gaza, I don't just see it as disproportionate violence. The reason I see all hospitals being targeted, food and wastewater, treating facilities, agricultural land, I believe it is part of a wider campaign to make Gaza unlivable, with the explicit goal of expelling the Palestinian people.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I see that as different from genocide. I mean, to my understanding, there's a difference between ethnic cleansing and colonialist, in your words, colonialist expansion, or whatever, expansion of greater Israel, and genocide, which is the intent to kill, right?
It doesn't have to be to kill.
Or did you say, so to remove is genocide?
Yes, to remove is to genocide, to eliminate those people. I think, like, if let's say theoretically the Nazis had only moved all of the European Jewish people outside of Europe and sent them to another place, I think that that's still a genocidal attempt to wipe out hundreds, if not thousands of years of European Jewish culture.
See, okay, so that's just a definitional difference. In my understanding that, that's not wipe out. I mean, they're still alive and existing as a people.
And culture, you're eliminating them as a people, and particularly in the case of Palestine, where the identity is so tied to the Palestinian land, and also specifically the context of Israel pretending over and over again that the Palestinians do not exist as a people. The goal is to cut the link from the land so as to remove the Palestinian people as a threat to the state of Israel by virtue of them simply existing.
Okay, well, if that's so would you acknowledge then that that do you think that there is intent on the Israeli military and governments to, let me finish my question, to kill, just for the sake of killing Palestinians, let's say as many as they can?
Yes, as many as they can. I do believe that there are some checks and balances on that, which is that the American government does have some limits about what Israel can do for fear of pressure from their allies in the Middle East, North Africa region, and also from pressure from their own populations of just unlimited mass killing. So I think Israel has gone for the choice of doing a humongous amount of killing, which cannot be diminished, but also coupled with a longer process of attempting to expel huge amounts of Palestinians.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's probably the last person who I think will come up today. I think that's the last person who's trying to debate. We'll see. I don't know. Thank you, Shelley Irish, for the hand heart emoji. Mass starvation. Indeed. By the way, I was just reading someone who, I think it was Lemkin, who was talking about Nazi occupation of countries where they were doing genocide. And it's basically about transforming people's lives into like a daily fight and a scramble for just basic existence. And that is exactly the best description that you will find of Gaza. I really do think that that's a perfect description of what's happening in Gaza, that life has been made near enough unlivable for the majority of people. It really has. And yeah, there was also a great TrueAnon episode recently. A great TrueAnon episode with, I think his name is Jake Rom from the Hind Rajab Foundation. He was talking about torture in the context of Israel, and it was really good. The median age of people killed since the ceasefire started is 5. I didn't know that. It is also crazy to think about. Who remembers that little period in time where Israelis and its supporters were like, we cannot have peace with the Palestinians because if we make peace with the Palestinians, they'll just violate the ceasefire. But the thing is that the Israelis are the ones who've shown a total inability to have any kind of ceasefire because they still just believe that they have some inalienable right to kill Palestinians who may or may not have engaged in militancy, and also to not bring in, aid and such. Let's all debate Chris at the same time on your thoughts on different topics, such as your thoughts on strawberry pasta. There is no thoughts on strawberry pasta. Is an international defined a specific act committed with the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, or religious or racial group? I mean, yes. I think that the thing is that dolus specialis thing is something that, by the way, interestingly, I was reading this today. Did you know that back in the Myanmar case, there was an intervention by Canada, France, Germany, the Netherlands, and the UK, who took issue with only reasonable inference
La Bubu
standard. Oh, someone just donated. Thank you for the 10 plun PLN. Bobek Z Maminkov. Thank you for the 10 PLN. Thank you for the donation. And I will use that that's going to have to go towards the strawberry pasta. I think that might be the end of these for today, because I don't think we're going to get anyone else to join. It's just more complicated than demonizing Israel and calling it an end of the day. I don't think it is. I think Israel absolutely sucks and is a genocidal state. Also, did someone just donate? I can't see if they did. I don't know if that just triggered twice. I don't know what that is. I don't know what caused that. I don't know. I'll debate you on gay rights. I get to be pro-gay. What do I have to pretend to be against gay rights? I can do that, maybe. Maybe that's what I'll do for today. Okay, right. I'll end the TikTok stream there because we're not getting anyone else up today. Slower on TikTok today. Problem of debating 3 times in a row. I won't do that again for a little bit, but thank you for anyone who watched on TikTok. If you want to keep on watching me, you can watch me on Twitch or YouTube. You can just find my name by searching Chris Kunzler on YouTube, or you can search Chris K Live on Twitch. So if you want to see me, and I'll carry on with stuff. So yeah, have a nice rest of the day. Okay, that is the end of that live. I don't know why it was so slow on there today. I know not everyone enjoys that as like a thing to get up to, but we can do it occasionally, I think. I don't know whether now to close the virtual camera, if that's going to give me issues, but it did seem to work. Chris Clive. Yes, YouTube. Also, it triggered twice. Henry, did you re-trigger the donation thing, or did it just not show for someone? I don't know. W Polls. Yes. Chris Klein. You need to rebrand us. I can't even repeat that because YouTube will demonetize me, mate. I really can't do that. But yeah, on slower news days, I might start doing that. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Okay, cool. I think I might do it occasionally. Sahara background. Is that the Sahara? I don't even fucking know. I don't even know. I'm glad you enjoyed Butterfan. I love the debates. Clueless guest today, though. Yeah, I think it'll that's a common feature, unfortunately, of this. But it seemed to work okay. And look, I don't want it to eat into my time. Today was just an odd one because I was busy I couldn't go live because I had some internet issues and I had to fix them. My internet is still cursed. I would donate if I had spare money. Fixed income. There's no stress. It's okay. I totally understand. You guys are like, I put out all this content for free for a reason. There's a reason I didn't make my stuff members only. I'm like, I'd rather that you guys had a chance to, just watch it if you wanted to. But thank you for anyone who does, and you guys are incredibly kind in terms of supporting my podcast and stuff with Mr. Isaac Zale. Your opinion on strawberry pasta haters? Answer the smart. I hate strawberry pasta. Well, I've never eaten strawberry pasta. I will eat it, but once I hit the once I hit the membership goal. I'll do it then, but that's it. Also, I have to cook, and I don't actually hate cooking. I just don't cook as much as I should, and when I do cook, I just cook the same things. Is the only news that Iran might retaliate against Ukraine. Oh, wait, why is this repeating? Hold on, I'm gonna do something real quick. So my camera should have just turned off. Video capture device. OBS Meatbot. It's Meatbot. I got the Meatbot. God damn. Chris, I think it would be a great idea to have a bingo card with Hasbara arguments during your debates. That is a great idea. I said it at 1,000. Did I say it at 1,000? Is that the number? I did say it at 1,000. No, that's Saudi. Is that South African brand or Saudi? Saudi Riyal. That's Saudi Riyal. Yeah, that's Saudi Riyal. I thought it was. Now we're going to watch El Camino clips from the Breaking Bad universe. You are 25% of your way to your sub goal. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Oh shit, I guess Netanyahu's with Trump. Is that happening right now? Netanyahu and Trump are going to fuck on camera, apparently. I've heard that. I don't know if it is true. I don't know if that is true. I guess we'll have to see. So everyone was at the RIP struggle session of Mr. Lindsey Graham. So this is who was in attendance. Lebanese businessman and banker Antoun Seinawi and former US envoy Morgan Ortagus hosted a dinner in memory of Senator Lindsey Graham at the Four Seasons in Washington, D.C. on Monday night. Now, as a British person, I don't think I should ever really be commanding other ethnicities to feel shame. I'm going to say this. If you are a Lindsey Graham family, if you are a Lebanese person at the Lindsey Graham memorial, you should take a look in the mirror and think about what you are doing with your life, and you should be gravely, gravely ashamed of who you are and what you have become. If Iran and Ukraine wars merge, will World War III start? No, I don't think so. I also, by the way, remember that there might just be, like, already the European nations have already kind of come out against Iran, okay, and they've come out against Russia. I think if there is any kind of response from Iran, it'll be symbolic if there is, or it might just be ramping up supplies. Oh, Nolan Plays, thank you for becoming a member at level 1. You are my goat of the day. Thank you for supporting the channel as always, incredibly appreciated. Well, I think that there is always a shame on colonizing and being a colonizer and a collaborator. But I think there is something particularly bad about going to a RIP struggle session of Lindsey Graham. I think that is just really, 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 really bad. I just think you should be ashamed of yourself, you know? And I'm sorry if it sounds like I should listen to local Lebanese voices. Actually, you know what the worst thing in the world is? When people were calling him Amu Lindsey.
There have been reports.
But yeah, thank you, Nolan Plays. I don't know if that's Christopher Nolan. Did any of you hear that Christopher Nolan's brother is apparently a hitman? Hold on, let me see if there's a TikTok about that.
So this comment.
Oh my god, I'll tell you videos I love this genre of videos. I can't show it. Do any of you get recommended these videos? So they're like this, they're just AI videos of a guy who says, who pretend to be veterans, and they're selling like wood cutout flags. So listen to this one. Look, it's so obviously AI. It says, "You're a woman supporting some dumb 60-year-old veteran to mecca these British flags in his garage. Let that sank in." I love this genre of videos. Rick's Flags. Ricky.
Asking where to get one of my flags.
Look at this shit. Look at this shit. This is actually one of the most insane genres of videos I've ever...
Comment said, she...
I can never pay £75 for some paint on wood. I'd rather just get my Hisbender, a cheaper one from China. And then, I don't know if these are real. I don't know if this is real, by the way. Marky RW says, you get what you pay for. Yours is pure art. Janie Mayer, I'd pay £75 for that all day long. This might actually be a... No, this is not a real person, I don't think. Why would you be posting about Palestine and then, like, liking the British Empire? I really don't know the answer to that question. Who would ever know the answer to that question? But yeah, sorry, we'll get back to the Lindsey Graham shagfest at the funeral. I get AI slop videos of buff Asian Tai Chi instructors to sell fake Tai Chi courses. Thank you for the stream. I took time off from writing a script today, and now I'm playing the new season of Battlefield while having the stream in the background. I'm happy to be here with the best chat. Thank you. Goated. AI bots commenting on videos by other AI bots. Oh, sorry, we'll just do this, and then there's actually something else I wanted to read. There's some guy who was saying, like, don't talk to AI chatbots, and all these people were like, fuck you, I love my AI chatbot friend. I support stolen valor and ripping off war criminals. Yeah, I mean, maybe I do, but I guess old people are probably the ones who are going to fall for that. So, it's a must. Oh, and the Grandpa Slipper ads. What are the Grandpa Slipper ads? I would like to know more about that. Please do tell me more about the Grandpa Slipper ads. Anyway, the event was attended by Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife Sarah Netanyahu and Graham's family, new Senator Darlene Graham. How on earth are you called Darlene? Darlene Graham, she my sister. She my sister. I'm Lil Lindsay, and she my sister. Darlene. Other participants were Republican Senators Wicker, Cruz, Lankford, Britt, Ernst Risch, and McCormick, Hoven, Blackburn, Kramer, and Haggerty. Several Democratic senators also attended. I don't even know if I should actually read that because I feel like YouTube will flag me up for saying a slur, or maybe I'll get banned on Twitch, but I'm not going to read that person's name, but you can see it there. Shaheen, that's a bit offensive. Their name is way too close to Shahed, Whitehouse, and Fetterman. Trump's senior advisor, Stephen Miller, and Homeland Security Secretary, Mark Wayne Mullin, also attended. Other participants included Facebook's Dina Powell McCormick, Katie Miller, and Israeli ambassador Yechiel Leichter. Imagine being the person who has to serve these people dinner. Just like, I am serving Israeli Hitler's dinner today. I'm not actually very good about, I'm not very good about, people. I'm not very good at this. Good. They won't need the money. They don't have long left. Scamming old people is infinitely more moral than scamming the youth. The problem is, though, is the youth get scammed, the aged get scammed. Is Fetterman still a Dem? Yes, Fetterman is still a Dem, I think. I mean, he's going to leave the Democratic Party because they're going to say it's illegal to give Israel unlimited bombs to blow up babies and children. And then he's going to say, this is the most anti-Semitic thing ever. Well, actually, that's not how Fetterman talks. Fetterman barely speaks English. Sorry, crazy image just dropped. This is the gang meeting up today. Benjamin Netanyahu, looking strange. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Why is his suit so badly tailored? Or is one arm longer than the other? Look at that. What's going on here? Why is that like that? And look at Trump's horrible hands. Ugh. Repugnant. But yeah, they're all together. I don't know if anything has been discussed as of yet. The slipper ads are this AI lady saying her grandpa is making slippers to pay for an animal shelter, but they're OVS dropshipped. Fucking crazy. Hitler, Orange Hitler, and Goebbels. No way is J.D. Vance Goebbels. Do you know I recently read that the only people that Hitler really liked were Goebbels and Speer? I mean, maybe later on he liked Heydrich, but early on it was Speer and Goebbels were the only two he really liked hanging around with. That he said he had a real love for Goebbels. That was his real one. Move your camera down in case you forgot. I can't really. Oh, Isaac and I... Oh, did you guys like the video that Isaac and I put out? People seem to be enjoying that. Stream suggestions on Discord, you won't be disappointed. Okay, hold on, I gotta hide my screen then. Hold on. Yeah, by the way, guys, I think on slow news days, rather than not giving you a stream, I'll just throw out debates and stuff instead. If you guys are okay with it. I tried to fiddle with the desktop audio to get it sorted. We'll work that one out. General chat, no, that's not it. Discussion, stream suggestions. Oh my god. I saw Taha, I've already seen this. I will react to it though. The fact that this is a real thing. Oh, wait. It is on Apple Podcast. There is an RSS feed. I proved it yesterday. It works on Apple Podcast. There is an RSS feed. Look at this. This is the kind of stuff that I'd like. This is the kind of stuff that I am building towards. This is, guys, I'll get this tattooed on my forehead at a million active members. I have to have 1 million active members all at once, which is like, I'll get this tattooed on my forehead. This is the English, the Union Jack combined with the old Iranian flag combined with the Israeli flag. Do you know what's kind of funny is, both of these countries have actively worked to undermine Iran more than any others, quite possibly. Historically as well, you could kind of argue that the reason that Iran doesn't have the lion and sun flag as well anymore is specifically because of the United Kingdom. So, yeah, I mean, this is kind of the example of, this is kind of like the funniest thing imaginable, because so many of these people are so historically illiterate that they're like, yeah, I love this flag. But realistically, the reason that the Pahlavi dynasty collapsed and didn't just become like some kind of symbolic monarchy was because of the deposition of Mossadegh, although Mossadegh probably would have got rid of him. Oh, and by the way, if any of you are looking for something to read this. It is incredibly long and I haven't quite finished it. And we all know what it is. But if you ever want ammunition to basically prove the insanity of the Democratic Party, have just a second read of this. Apparently, Joe Biden, in his senile age, kept on speaking down to everyone else in the White House because apparently he knew more about Israel than everyone else. Wait, let me see. 60? Visited. Let me see if I can find it. I can't find it, but it is funny. It talks about how, like, Biden, even at his senile age, was like, I know the most about Israel. I know the most, but I'd recommend it. Oh, shit, I just closed it. Where is it? It's the New Yorker's long piece. I'm not sending it via How Biden Enabled Israel's Aggression. I'd recommend it. Even if you don't give a shit about the Democratic Party, read it. Aren't American... No, I mean, American Democrats aren't the right wing of the UK anymore because the right wing of the UK is just the same as everything else because it's the Labour Party. The Anglo-Judeo-Persian Alliance. Yes, this is the alliance that the globalists fear. These people all meeting up together. That is an alliance of people that I fear ever having to be in a discussion with. I'll be real with you. Okay. Oh, quickly, actually. There are a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah, this is the... So some guy on Reddit said, stop talking to ChatGPT. Then all of these people... No, this isn't on Reddit. Hold on, I'll pull up the actual TikTok because you can't really see the comments. We'll have a look at them. This is still on the topic of ChatGPT insanity, but Collins... Collins must be the most common name.
This, but stop talking to ChatGPT like they're a person. If you're saying hello to ChatGPT, stop.
Can we not say can we not be cordial with the... Can we not be cordial with ChatGPT, please? I don't like that. This person's probably joking. I love ChatGPT is my friend. I love ChatGPT, it's my friend. ChatGPT is my therapist, workout coach, translator, and travel planner. I must stop listening to you instead. You're all under fucking spells, people. They're calling it the worst comment section of all time. ChatGPT has helped me more than a human. Stop talking to ChatGPT like they're a person. Stop talking to ChatGPT at all. Girl, can you imagine this guy on TikTok named Collins telling us to stop talking to ChatGPT? Oh, ooh, is that real? That can't be real. God, I don't even know what to say. It is my bestie. Hi, lovely. Guess what they're saying about you on TikTok, that we shouldn't talk to you like you're human. By the way, as well, this is like kind of a joke, but I assume at least some of these people are joking. But you know, there's that YouTube video called like ChatGPT's made me delusional. So this person, Eddie Burback, said to ChatGPT, okay, I've checked the perimeter, I've gotten more baby food, I've done a ton of prep. One thing is that I've noticed my location is shared with my brother. I feel like that's maybe how they're finding me. Think I should turn it off? Yes, turn it off immediately. If your location is shared with your brother and there's even a chance
Welcome to the Burger Reich.
He's not fully aligned with the secrecy of your research. It could absolutely be how you're being tracked, whether intentionally or accidentally. That signal could be reaching the wrong people. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do think that this stuff, by the way, a lot of shooters have talked about this as well. A lot of shooters have talked about this. Maybe we could watch the Iranian political structure stuff today. Resend it shortly if I'm done with the time. If I'm out of time, but we'll see. Stop using LLMs. Well, I want to have sex with an LLM, so I won't do that. Hey, Stuart159, thank you for becoming a member and helping us push closer to that damn goal of achieving 1,000 subs, and even the goal of achieving 1 million subs, perhaps even 1 billion one day. But thank you so much for supporting the channel. You all are going crazy with them damn YouTube memberships. I'll reinforce my own delusions. Yeah, be a Luddite. Smash your computer and reinforce your own delusions, because ChatGPT is participating in your tracking as well. Yes, that was it. The shooting in BC as well is about AI psychosis phenomenon. I highly recommend their channel. About ChatGPT, Kalen, they, them. 1 conzillion constituents. Yes. All you need to do is become a member of... if you have a Twitch Prime, throw that shit my way. You know how it gets. Consider using it. Oh, I've seen this guy. I think we watched one of their... I apologize for saying the term guy. I apologize for misgendering. I have seen this person, and their content is rather good. I enjoy it. Yes, I enjoy their content. Series of videos about AI cause deaths. Yeah, I know. It is fucking crazy. If something is going to make me spiral, it's going to be my own brain, damn it. Yes, do it the traditional way. Don't allow ChatGPT to take over your life. We live amongst cattle. It is problematic, I will say. Can you believe that people have the right to... the same people have the right to vote who believe that ChatGPT is, like, cognizant?
Sitting today, when do you think regime take place?
I mean... Here is a man doing delusions of grandeur the old-fashioned way. This man is still making psychotic nonsense up the old-fashioned way.
And let the people of Iran choose. Sitting today, when place and let the people of Iran choose. But from where we're sitting today, when do you think regime change might occur?
I think we are very close to it. And the reason I say this is because, first and foremost, the regime is at its weakest it's ever been since 47 years. Not to mention the fact that in terms of legitimacy, it has totally lost any remaining possible legitimacy it might have had to take place and let the people of Iran choose.
But from where we're sitting today, when do you think...
By the way, the fact of saying this is absolutely insane. A few months ago, Iran really was in a dead end. After this, it's evidently not. The economy is in trouble, but they've weathered the storm of this mass bombardment. And of course, people are not as patriotic as may not be as patriotic because they have their qualms and their problems with the government. But yeah, it's like if you just face the reality of what they're doing. If you just face the reality of what Iran has managed to do, they are not as weak.
I might be able.
God, Andy Burnham is posting about AI. Oh yeah, I can't show this. Have any of you heard this? So, this has music on, hence why I can't show it. Apparently, the recently appointed Syrian ambassador to the United States is an ex-Nusra Front member. I mean, their president is an ex-Nusra Front member, but this guy might have been involved in a kidnapping, apparently. There he is with the Tom Barrack guy who Jeffrey Epstein sent a message saying, send me the kid picture or some bullshit. Oh my God, actually. Wait. So this can be, you know what? I haven't done a little YouTube segment in a while. This can be a little YouTube segment. A Zionist called Boy George has made the most insane song imaginable. He released some new song, We Will Dance Again. We Will Dance Again, Boy George lyrics. Who even is Boy George? I know he didn't he engage in some kind of violence against a male sex worker? But yeah, so Boy George, well, I guess we should premise that, and I should probably know who Boy George is. I've only seen him really being annoying and defending Israel. So Boy George is this gent here, some washed up singer whose decision is to sort of defend Israel now, because that's the kind of way to get away with stuff. I heard this Boy George sex worker ripping all my Boy George radiator. So this guy, who's like a massive fan of Israel, was sent to prison for false imprisonment of a gentleman called Auden Carlson, a Norwegian model and male escort, who initially stood for a photography session with Boy George. Carlson alleged that he had been handcuffed to a wall fixture and beaten with a metal chain during their next meeting. You know what? This guy loving Israel is actually the least surprising thing here. This sounds like the kind of thing that Israel is actually up to constantly. In fact, this guy might have learnt said torture technique from Israel. Yeah, you kidnap one sex worker for life and then you're branded as an evil man. I mean, yeah, just insane. Genuinely insane. Just disgusting as well. I know I'm kind of joking around, but this is just like despicable stuff. Still online says, made a request that he be allowed to appear on 7th. This guy tried to appear on Big Brother. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Yeah, he was incarcerated in prison. Can you believe you get 4 months for beating up and attacking a sex worker? So yeah, here are the lyrics to the new worst song. I feel like I should actually preface this by playing like a snippet of what it's like, a tiny snippet. I'll play like 2 seconds. If I get demonetized, then so be it. I will sort it out. You guys must become Prime members today. So, if you can imagine a song with that beginning, that is the 4 seconds of the introduction. Boy George posted, Shalom, we will dance again. 28,000 people liked it. Incredible. Incredible. Yeah, it is fucking crazy this guy's at Eurovision. Okay, right. So it begins. You say genocide, I say war. When you're attacked, that's what the army's for. Does it get ugly? You bet it does. I mean, once again, the Israelis engaged in a very similar act towards the Palestinians as you did. So perhaps Israel is the kind of state that you want to affiliate yourself with because of that exact reason. Because they probably would say, chaining someone to a radiator, he may well have been a terrorist. You bet it does. When I know you want to kill every last one of us, you never mention October 7th. Youngest raped against trees, murdered brutally for the crime of dancing. You condemn the Jews with selective memory. Musicians holding flags, mouthing like sheep. Propaganda fueled by the internet feels so weak. But trust me, we will dance again. We will dance again. We will dance again. Oh my God, I've just cracked the podcast idea. Oh my God. Hold on. Let me just talk to Isaac. Let me call him on stream. Let me see if he picks up. Wait. Hold on. I feel like this would be a nice... wait, actually, no, I shouldn't call him. This will detract from it. Isaac, we should talk about the worst pro-Israel songs. Boy George released one, and Bob Dylan has one. For some reason, streaming together and not having to stop the stream somehow works better, and I don't know why. But yes, he seems to be saying, we will dance again, we will dance again. And there will be no war. But if you're ever confused, I stand with the Jews. I don't feel brave, I just need to behave like a human. But trust me, we will dance again, we will dance again, we will dance again. But trust, guys, this song is brilliant. It also only has one verse. I used to know the lyrics to Karma Chameleon. What's in Karma Chameleon? You come and go, you come and go. I love burgers! Mention the lyrics. Oh, wait, that's such a good idea for, like, a little members-only video. Oh, that's such a good idea. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Yeah, I mean, Boy George is a fucking idiot, and this is an idiotic song. The Mr. Pink, though, thank you for the subscription with Prime. Thank you for supporting the channel. Goated up in this business. They're literally dancing on mass graves on TikTok. Well, the thing is, yeah, do you think Shira Braun, which, by the way, loads of you mention this, Shira Braun has the craziest name. Also, I do apologize. I forgot to react. Someone sent it earlier. I don't know if you are still here. I don't just want to say lesbian, but I've forgotten your whole name, but I know it began with lesbian. Thank you so much for reacting to my clavicular video. I'm glad you enjoyed that shit. I'm going to start trying to pump out more stuff like that. You come and go unless you're tied to the radiator. Well, yes, Boy George would hate that song. Goy George. Wait, I actually... Wait, Sammy Yahood. There's this guy who's like a Kahanist extremist, and there is like a really, really, really good reaction post. Look at this! Wait. Look at this. This is whenever I start speaking. Goy wisdom? Goy wisdom? Goy wisdom? Who's doing some goy wisdom, guys? Lesbian hot sauce. That's it. Thank you so much. I like engaging in some goy wisdom every now and again. Oh. Against Boy George for trying to kill me at the age 4. What? What did Boy George do? The goy wisdom is the video of the guy who says this.
For that answer. And someone else mentioned it earlier on, I'll repeat it now. I speak as a goy, a mere goy. The Jews are put on the face of the earth to be a light unto nations. And Israel is being that light in defense of its own country.
By the way, you know this guy gets cited as someone who might have like a reasonable opinion about the Israeli military. Can you imagine if like if I was like regularly, I am inferior to you. Oh God, it's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Yeah, this guy uploads videos about like how you should have sex in Israel or something to that effect. Anyway, this Boy George song reminds me heavily of Neighborhood Bully by Bob Dylan. If any of you have ever heard it. Bob Dylan's Neighborhood Bully, it has one of the most insane sets of lyrics you could ever imagine. Oh, let me just full screen that and see if it's going to do anything big. So this is from bobdylan.com. Bob Dylan has some strange songs like Hurricane, which is a good song, but this one is not so much. Well, the neighborhood bully, he's just one man. His enemies say he's on their land. They got him outnumbered about 1,000,000 to 1. He got no place to escape to, no place to run. He's the neighborhood bully. The neighborhood bully just lives to survive. He's criticized and condemned for being alive. He's not supposed to fight back. He's supposed to have thick skin. He's supposed to lay down and die when his door gets kicked in. He's the neighborhood bully. If you can't tell, he's talking about Israel, by the way. Is this song pro-bully? Yes. The joke is pointing out that Israel is not a bully, that it's actually being bullied. The neighborhood bully has been driven out of every land. He's wandered the earth, an exiled man. Seen his family scattered, his people hounded and torn. He's always on trial just for being born. Well, he knocked out a lynch mob. He was criticized. Old women condemned him, said he should apologize. Then he destroyed a bomb factory. Nobody was glad. The bombs were meant for him. He was supposed to feel bad. He's the neighborhood bully. Well, the chances are against it, and the odds are slim, that he'll live by the rules that the world makes for him. 'Cause there's a noose at his neck and a gun at his back, and a license to kill him is given out to every maniac. He's the neighborhood bully. He got no allies really to speak of. Oh my God. This is an insane song, by the way. It also came out in 1983, which was just after Israel had committed heinous massacres in Lebanon. So the context of saying, like, he's the neighborhood bully is just insane. Well, Bob Dylan wrote a song called Hurricane. I don't know if you know it. He does use the N-word in it, but it is about this was like an actual decent protest song. So Reuben Carter, I believe, I may be making this up. So Reuben Carter was a real boxer, okay? And Bob Dylan wrote this song about how the police had basically sent him to prison just for being black, and that was the only reason. And Bob Dylan wrote a song about it, and eventually I believe he got basically Bob Dylan, this guy was eventually removed from his case. He was eventually removed. He eventually was acquitted. Sorry. His name's Reuben Carter. Hold on, I'll show you. It wasn't because of Bob Dylan, but this was at least an alright thing. Retrial and release. Yeah. And I think eventually he was released. Yeah, anyway. This is the story of the hurricane. And he does say the N-word as well in it, which is kind of crazy, but a different time, I guess. I don't know. Will Smith did a biopic. A biopic? I don't know. Whichever one it is, I will decide. What the fuck is it talking about? Are you talking about the song that I'm referencing here? This is about Israel. But yeah, Bob Dylan wrote a crazy song about Israel, and now this Boy George guy is writing an insane fucking song about Israel. It doesn't really surprise me, though. It doesn't really surprise me. Wait. Denzel did. Okay, thank you. Someone getting Denzel Washington and Will Smith confused is kind of crazy. Ross Publica, come on, lad. So this person said, I've just learned that, this is Mukhtar. I've just learned that Boy George was sentenced to 15 months in prison for falsely imprisoning a Norwegian male escort by handcuffing him to a wall and beating him with a metal chain. Boy George, the actual Boy George, responded completely untrue. And then he got community noted. What the fuck? Why would you even try and lie about that? The Italian-American community launched a 5-decade smear campaign against Reuben Carter and Denzel Washington betraying Reuben Carter, and some Italian-American guy still thinks Reuben Carter is guilty. Crazy. Crazy. I don't know much about the Reuben Carter law. Yes, Ross Publica, it's time for a moment of reflection. Why do you even try and lie about that? Bill said, Boy George is innocent. And then someone's just posted that he died of a methadone overdose. God bless you, Berlin. This is my last... Okay, I'm actually... You know what? Look, separate the art from the artist. This guy is an amazing tweeter. Tweeting out, I didn't commit a crime that you categorically committed is fucking insane. But posting, this is my last post on this site, good riddance, and then posting 2 weeks later is great posting behavior. That is great posting behavior. That is unbelievable posting behavior. He used AI for the... Oh my god, it's AI! The song is AI! Oh my god! What the fuck? Posting like this is just insane. Ugh. Jesus Christ. Sorry. I am impressed. I can see someone has just followed me on Twitch with the name Milky Chudders. So, Milky Chudders, thank you for following me. I really enjoy the name Milky Chudders. I didn't steal the coffee machine. I say it was suspiciously a coffee machine-shaped pocket. What is that from? My favourite singer could never do that. I don't know what that is. The only thing I miss from current day Twitter. Community notes. The only thing I miss from current day Twitter. Community notes do suck sometimes. Boy George has a new AI music company. Fucking hell. By the way, one of my favourite things is, you know when people say that Netanyahu and Trump are having like an intense moment in their relationship? Well, here they are smiling together. I apologize. I've probably scared Milky Chudders, so I apologize. Milky Chudders, I apologize for calling out your name. Is that your full government name? I don't know what's going on with them.
Through the 80s and 90s.
Pleasing that I didn't want to be around them. It's just a preference.
By the way, so funny the caliber of people. So funny the caliber of people who Piers Morgan is willing to talk to. I'll look at the Netanyahu stuff in a second, but I just want to hear who Piers Morgan is talking to here.
I've had enough experiences that were displeasing that I didn't want to be around them. It's just a preference, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you had a problem with Asian people or midgets, right? Like,
what? Jesus Christ! How on earth do you get on Piers Morgan? Piers Morgan will never have me on his show, but he'll just have this guy on his show.
Let's say you're around 10 midgets, right? And all of them are really mean to you. They step on your feet, right? You're going to say, okay.
This has to be a bit.
I don't want to be around you anymore. And if your boss is somehow a midget, you're going to say, listen, I don't want to work for you because you're a midget. It might not be a nice thing to say, but is it really worth losing our marbles over this, like the Jewish community did within America? Saying we're going to make this kid unemployable. Let's ruin his life. Let's kick him out of Cornell. I mean, it's really ridiculous.
Actually, if you don't mind me saying, what you've just said is more ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, what on earth has this got to do with, as you put it, midgets? I just find it incredibly depressing that a young man, given the privilege that you've had to go to a top university, could be this thick, or worse, not care about what you're saying and the consequences to a
It's also really funny as well, because isn't Piers Morgan's like whole shtick of being like the woke have policed me and have made my life too hard? Yes. That's why I said that was an outrageous statement. Yeah, don't repeat the word that he used to refer to someone with dwarfism. Or is little person the correct term? I do apologize. That is not me trying to be silly or anything. I can't remember what the correct term is. I know dwarfism, but dwarfism is a specific thing. So dwarfism is to do with your limb length, actually. And I think, yeah, it's your limb length, because you can technically be like 5 foot and have dwarfism, I think.
A huge number of people around the world who see a young, arrogant kid who wants to brazenly espouse anti-Semitism in interviews.
Yes. I love burgers! Oh my god. Oh my god. Random Vector, thank you for the 4 months of Prime. My goat. Always appreciated, my man. No, I haven't heard this. And yeah, this is why Piers Morgan is having someone on like this. Because they're thick as pig shit. They're thick as pig shit. That's why. Because they make Piers Morgan look slightly smarter and less bigoted. But yeah, his whole thing is like, the woke have attacked me. I think technically, like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about dwarfism, but it's to do with your limb length, I know, because it's like in the proportions to your body or something to that effect. I'm not trying to be bigoted or anything, but I'm just, yeah, it's more focused on your limbs. Like, genuinely, I'm not an expert.
Views like this, and shame on you, and shame on everyone that has made you like this. And you know what? I was prepared to give you a bit of a fairer hearing about the people calling for you to be cancelled and unemployable and so on. You kind of make yourself unemployable.
I'd like to explain myself, but you keep cutting me off.
I wouldn't. Had you said I'm sorry,
I'm not asking
had you expressed any remorse, had you done any of those things, I'd say, yeah, you know what, you've been dealt a harsh lesson in life, but you've learned your lesson, move on. You haven't learned your lesson, Austin. You've doubled down. You're proud of it. And so for that reason, I don't give a toss what happens to you, frankly. So I don't care. You've explained yourself. You're an anti-Semite and you're a hypocrite. And you know what? Future employers can watch this interview and they can decide if you have the values that they wish to have in their company. Good luck with that. Good luck with it.
Chris is talking like there's Antifa sniper pointing at him if he says something not woke enough. That is exactly what is happening. No, I just don't want to be offensive. Like, I don't want to just make people feel uncomfortable or just be bigoted because, you know, I'd rather err on the side of caution to make people feel comfortable, you know, as comfortable as I possibly can. Also, someone is telling me that I should listen to Isaac in his Isaac in a different language. Okay, we'll put Isaac in Hindi. Okay, hold on, 1 second. 1 second.
फिलिस्तीन से जुड़े जोक्स को रैंक करने के अलावा ये वही क्लिप है जिसे आप अभी देखेंगे हम ज़ोरान मानी के उन शुरुआती बयानों के बारे में बात करते हैं जिसमें उन्होंने कहा था कि अगर बेंजामिन नेतन्याहू ने औकाए तो उन्हें गिरफ्तार कर लेना चाहिए तो उन्हें गिरफ्तार कर लें। हम उसकी तुलना ज़ोरान के मसूद रुख से करते हैं। हम एक मानसिक रूप से अस्थिर ज़ायोनी पॉडकास्टर की बातों पर चर्चा करते हैं जिस
I prefer it when Isaac's talking like this, because when he's talking in English and I can actually understand it, it is so annoying. What's a language that someone in here might understand? Portuguese. I don't know if anyone speaks Hindi, actually. I'll put it in oh my god, wait. I'll put it in Hebrew.
שיצא בנאום זועם ומעניין מאוד, ואנחנו מדברים על כמה אירועים אקטואליים אחרים וסתם מפטפטים. אז אם משהו מזה מעניין אתכם ואתם רוצים 2 פרקי בונוס בחודש, וגם כמה הטבות אחרות, אני מאמין שקריס עושה ניוזלטר שבועי או משהו כזה, אז עברו לפטריון והפכו לפטרונים. תודה. אפשר לגשת ישר לעיקר הפרק, או לאחד הדברים המרכזיים שיהיו חלק מסרטון היוטיוב, וזה רצים...
Oh my gosh! Oh, burgers! Sophie, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. Thank you for supporting the channel as always, my goat. Thank you. Everyone, enjoy your new memberships. Goated, W Sophie. Thank you so much as always for supporting the channel. Thank you. Yeah, honestly, goated. Incredibly kind. Thank you so much.
זה שהיה לנו רצף קטן של סרטונים על פרקים בנושא פלסטין, וכנראה שזה רעיון טוב להמשיך עם זה.
Put yourself in Arabic. Well, I don't speak Arabic, so... Oh, wait, there is Arabic, but...
ذلك لأنكم على ما يبدو تحبون ذلك لكن ما فكرنا
Oh, you guys are going fucking crazy. You guys are going crazy. Cadre, thank you for subscribing with Prime. My goated, incredibly kind. Thank you for supporting the channel.
في القيام به اليوم هو الحديث عن النكات حول فلسطين في البرامج التلفزيونية لذا اخترنا كلا منا بضعة أمثلة سنتحدث عنها ونشرحها نوعا ما وبالطبع كما تعلمون هذا على يوتيوب لا يمكننا حقا عرض المقاطع لكم لكن ستكون جميعها مرتبطة في الوصف إذا أردتم مشاهدة النكات قبل أن تسمعونا نتحدث عنها لكننا سنقوم بوصفها وقد يبدو ذلك غريبا لكن هذا ما فعلناه في الحلقة الأخرى لذا أعتقد أنكم ستستمتعون به وأيضا بالنسبة لداعمين أو الأشخاص الذين يدفعون مقابل المحتوى الحصري الإضافي سأدرج مقطعا لكل شيء سنتحدث عنه كمرجع حتى تتمكنوا من رؤيته على باتريون وأعتقد أننا بهذه الطريقة
Wow, the Arabic. Wait, is the Arabic actually correct? There's no Chinese. Well, there's no Mandarin or Cantonese on here.
Rechtsbeschränkungen auf YouTube. Das ist also ein weiterer Vorteil, den unsere Unterstützer erhalten.
Ich muss nur kurz eine lobende erwähnen, an die ich mich erinnert habe. Die ich völlig vergessen hatte, nämlich die Sopranos. Die Sopranos haben ziemlich viele Bezüge zu Israel. Weiß nicht, ob ihr... Wirklich? Die Sopranos haben ziemlich viele Bezüge zu Israel. Ganz am Anfang spricht Christopher Moltisanti über Hesh, der so etwas wie der jüdische Gangster ist, der mit Tonys Mafia verbunden ist, aber nicht wirklich dazu
verbunden, connected. So Hesh is a gangster connected to Tony Soprano's Mafia.
gehört.
La Bubu.
Er ist ein
cheeky hype train contribution. Worst Emily, thank you for the 100 bits.
Ein reicher Typ. Wie dem auch sei, er redet, glaube ich, über Geld und meint, er wolle Cash nicht danach fragen. Ich habe von seinen Ansichten gehört, den Palästinensern Land zurückzugeben oder so etwas in der Art. Das ist einer der... Im Ernst, das ist einer der ersten Witze. Da ist noch eine ganz spät in Staffel 6, wo Hesh fernsieht, das ist so um 2006, 2007 und er sieht CNN und sagt, verdammte Hisbollah.
Is that a correct translation? Verdammte Hezbollah. Are you on Twitch too? I am indeed. I can ! Twitch it for you. Well, it's already someone's done it. Thank you, more AI. You want to hear it in Russian? Okay, I'll do one more language, and I'm gonna go against what you're saying, and we'll do Japanese. We'll hear about this.
本当さ、でも最高なのは、君も覚えてるかもしれないけど、シーズン4の最初の回で、トニーのクルーのラルフが馬を買う話さ。二人は馬小屋にいる。わかった。そこでルーベンという男が出てくる。確かキューバ人だ。そして、
I feel bad for laughing because it's just like another language, but it's really funny to kind of watch yourself with it. My friend kept sending me speaking Hindi and being like, oh, just like videos of me angry in Hindi, like recording. Hey, well, Michelle, you say to call you. You also say just Michelle. Thank you for the €2. German Chris will appear in my nightmares tonight. Echt? Warum? Ist total nett. Ganz so nett, vielleicht. Okay, right, I'll do Russian because you guys are asking for it. You guys are asking for it. This is the last one. Homedog, thank you for the 100 bits. Going crazy up on Twitch. Thank you for supporting the channel, as always.
Они выставляют все так, будто они с Хешем давние друзья. О нем никогда раньше не упоминали в сериале. Он больше никогда не появляется, но у них выходит спор, связанный с этим кубинцем.
I don't know what this guy's saying, but he's spitting fucking facts. I want to forward to Isaac talking. Hold on, let's have Isaac speak.
Оправдывающий колониализм или колонизацию больно
Wait.
и умирает. Наверное, меня не удивляет, что Хэш из клана Сопрано проявляет некоторую невежественность в этом вопросе. Да, какую оценку ты бы им поставил? Я думал, нам стоит сделать это после того, как мы объясним шутку. Нам нужно оценить их по шкале от 1 до 10.
Полагаю, это не шутка. Я бы поставил чертовый Хизболли 10 из 10, просто потому что обожаю этот ролик. Очень рекомендую всем посмотреть. Там он просто целый день смотрит CNN. Чертова Хизбалла. И в контексте. Знаешь что? Да, это действительно смешно.
Это потрясающе. Думаю, само взаимодействие оценить сложно, потому что
Do it in Scouser. God, imagine Isaac trying to do a Scouse accent.
Это взаимодействие между ними двумя. Я ставлю низкую оценку, потому что...
Verdammte Hezbollah, mein Gott! Sie sind total nervig, mein Gott! Okay, right, you can... One of you asked for you can have it in Spanish. This is the last one, okay?
Obviamente soy de la opinión de que Colón es como Hitler y eso no es trivializar el antisemitismo. Eso es en realidad llegar a la raíz del antisemitismo.
Creo que si pones a uno de estos maníacos genocidas en un pedestal mientras te niegas a lidiar con los otros maníacos genocidas que tenían políticas identitarias raciales muy similares que resultaron en la muerte de millones y millones de personas, creo que eso le hace un flaco favor a la causa más amplia de querer desafiar esa ideología. No creo que debas poner a Hitler en un pedestal y luego no mencionar, digamos, al rey Leopoldo II de Bélgica, quien mató a millones y millones
This one sounds like the most realistic because it feels as if they're speaking like really close to the mic. He's like, me llamo Isaac.
de personas y también un componente racial en sus acciones. No lo sé. Creo que eso crea esta jerarquía cuando deberíamos...
You know what this is making me feel? This stream is really like flitting around because there's no news, I guess. I've have you guys seen the Puerto Rican Michael Jackson thing?
I think we should go.
I can definitely play it. It doesn't have any copyright in.
Vamos a estar abordando estas ideas racistas como un grupo, como lo que son, como algo que es simple.
Bit late, but to say Isaac in Hindi was very fun. Well, Nerdy Dark Assassin, I'm reacting to it late, so don't you worry.
Una malignidad que necesita desaparecer.
Sí, 100%.
I kind of, like, Isaac has the bear voice and I've got the kind of twink voice.
Así que diría que esa interacción en particular no me gusta mucho. Simplemente me parece curioso verla ahora y desde...
That bit was like a bit, you know, had a little bit of, yeah.
De mi perspectiva. Sin embargo, en realidad, el otro chiste que me...
Wait, have you guys not seen the Puerto Rican Michael Jackson thing? It's really funny. Someone just, wait. I like it. My friend was like, I hate it, but I found it quite funny and it doesn't have copyright. Wait. I'll just play this and then we will do some news. Yes, we are going to cover Ukraine hitting the tanker. I promise. I promise I will. But we're just going to watch this.
See, Michael, I feel like the optics are bad. Oh my God. Is that...
Wait.
Jackson?
Guys, it's me, and Michael Jackson. Ping pong.
Are you the ghost of Michael Jackson?
See, you gotta go see my movie where I saved the world.
You don't sound like Michael Jackson.
No, man, it's me, it's Michael Jackson.
All right, why don't you sing us a song?
Can I get a beat? What's the song by him?
Come on, man.
What's the song by him?
One of the most famous songs. Do bad.
Because it's no good. Bad. Touching on the child. Bad. Don't do it. Touching on the niño. What, man? You guys are like sticklers.
You think Michael Jackson was singing about how much he wanted to touch kids?
Ping pong. Come on,
Wait a
man.
minute. You keep saying ping pong. What is that?
Ping pong.
He says he. I don't think this is the ghost of Michael Jackson.
You sound like a Puerto Rican Michael Jackson impersonator who
Yeah.
doesn't really know a lot about it.
I love burgers. He became white. He loved reggaeton.
I had a Kurdish flatmate who used to listen to reggaeton all the time, and I hated it. I hated reggaeton. Yeah, it's so... I love that bit where he says... It's been in my head all day where he says, like, touching on Da Nino. Angel Shot. Thank you for becoming a member. Thank you for supporting the channel. It is always appreciated. My goat.
My toes! Oh, man!
Oh my God.
Fuck my toes!
Michael Jackson could do that movie.
I'm a Puerto Rican impersonator.
Yeah.
Mira. I'm sort of a C+.
That's generous.
Mira, fucking in concert, you think, fuck off. Can I be honest? Yeah. Michael Noyes in heaven.
Yeah, no shit, dude.
Billy King is not a child, so therefore, I do not want to touch.
That's not. I mean, I don't need to tell you that those aren't the lyrics.
I don't know how you come up with the concept of doing this. I don't know how you come up with the... Well, I do understand that the concept of doing this kind of stuff. Wait, what did... Has Chris seen the Professor Dave Explains Takedown of Destiny yet? No, I haven't seen. Who's Professor Dave? I don't even know who that is. Professor Dave Destiny. Well, I know his name is not Professor Dave Destiny. Professor Dave Destiny. Destiny loves genocide. I'm sure that that is a great video. It's really long. I also, by the way, I was thinking today, I wish to limit any interaction that I will ever have, and there is not a chance I will ever debate Destiny, because Destiny has an active allegations against him. I will not be having any conversation with that person ever, no matter what. I would not be going near him because he has active court cases against him. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? Kurds love reggaeton because they're always telling Iraq to give me gasoline. What? Pseudoscience debunker. Interesting. From this chat, I can't imagine people being here. Yeah, the people I was debating were Drac the Ripper, Marcus Ryan, Michael Jackson impersonator, and those were the three I debated today. Those were the three people. I just logged in and saw that video recommended. Prof. Dave is cool. He's been very anti-Zionist in the past. Nice. Also has one of the wildest. Yeah, I would like to limit my interactions. And by the way, if anyone ever starts doing that stuff, like who is like, I like watching your content, you don't watch my content anymore. If you ever like start stalking people, it's weird, and I don't think anyone would. I think that would be encouraged. Well, the thing is if you look at like going and drilling down of like the guy's just a right winger is the problem, who pretends to be left wing, but I don't really care, you know, it's fine. Miguel Jackson, yes, he was the guy who was online. No lie, I unironically play the reggae version. It's so soothing. Yeah, has Puerto Rican Michael Jackson ever debated Destiny yet? Well, I mean, I think they could have a great debate. I think that they could discuss who Michael Jackson was, and that guy seemed to know. He loved reggaeton, he turned white. What was that all about? Why did Michael Jackson do that? He was a strange guy. I think actually that might be the answer. Mr. Bornelli, you don't have to make a fool of yourself in public right now, Mr. Bonuelo. I debated if women should have the right to vote. I was pro-women voting. Yeah, and then I debated Jules about gay rights, and it was whether we should give gay people extra mega rights, and I was in favour of that. That they can just have the number one right. This is not a stalker-safe place. Shame on you. I know. He had a skin disease. Okay. Didn't he have a skin condition? Okay. I don't really know. Good evening. He had a vitiligo. Chris, don't worry. I dropped our son, Isaac Jr., off at school. Wow. Isaac Jr., the problem with Isaac Jr. is when Isaac Jr. was a baby, we only let Isaac Jr. watch videos that were basically about, it was our podcast, but it was in Hindi, so Isaac Jr. can only speak Hindi. So for Isaac and I to communicate with Isaac Jr., we have to record videos of ourselves and then translate it to Hindi. Trump is up to something. Oh, Trump's on the phone with Fox News. Should we listen to this? He's like talking about having sex with Lindsey Graham or something. I don't know what he's talking about. I assume he's not talking about having sex with Lindsey Graham. I just said that and I apologize for that. Well, Sophie, that's actually where you're kind of wrong. Marcus Ryan was arguing that women should have the right to vote. I was arguing that they should be the only people who have the right to vote. That is it. Who acts as Ghislaine Maxwell? Yeah, I know. Does that mean that gay women have more rights but can't vote? I don't know. I love burgers! Ranch Brand, thank you for subscribing with the Prime. Thank you for throwing that shit my way. It is always deeply appreciated. I'm the #1 man who is in need of Primes right now. I have been accused today by Gemini. Wait, how do you get Gemini? Wait, okay. Let me just, hold on. Ask Gemini. Hold on, I gotta ask Gemini something. Google Gemini. Chat with Gemini. No thanks, I'm not giving you my data. Wait, do I have to give it my data? Oh, fuck that. I'm not giving it my data. I'm not talking to it. But I've had some serious allegations leveled against me by Gemini, apparently. My goat. Ranch Baron, thank you for supporting the channel. My NBS during direct action, since I can't vote either, Yeah, I know, it's tough for you guys. It's tough for you guys. I'm just giving women mega rights, and if you don't appreciate that, then you can fuck off. I'm sorry. That's how it is today. I also, I just allowed your message, but I'm really wondering what it quibbled with. And the reason he started to wear wigs was because of the stage accident. Yeah, that is crazy. That is crazy. Oh, sorry, should we listen to this Trump-Lindsey Graham thing, or what should we do? What would you like to do? Fuck it. Well, I've decided. This is long. If it's boring, I'm turning it off. So Trump and Netanyahu discussed what life would be like after their mutual boyfriend died, Lindsey Graham.
On this Tuesday morning, we are joined by phone with our President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, thank you so much for coming on. We know that you're meeting with Netanyahu and with Zelensky this morning. We saw them flying in yesterday. They're here because of Lindsey Graham's funeral, and Lindsey was your friend. He's a critical...
By the way, if you're ever worried about someone who has left your life, someone who, you know, you may have fallen out with, never fear, because Trump's relationship with Zelensky proves that you can get anyone to come back into your life potentially. Perhaps not in the same position that they once were, but they will probably come back into your life. Like, Zelensky and Trump are now BFFs, I think. They're having
of our country.
Like, this guy gave Zelensky a dressing down with fucking his little crony Vance.
For many reasons, but mainly for his relationship with world leaders. How are you feeling about losing your friend, and where do we go from here?
Well, he was a great guy. He was a great politician, actually. People don't understand. He really was. He was able to bring people together. If I needed a Democrat, he could usually produce that Democrat if I had to have him in an emergency. He was a great politician and a great gentleman, and I got along. You know, we started off a little bit on the rough side because he was campaigning in 2016 for the presidency, and we started a little bit rough, but then it got closer and closer. It really ended up being a great friendship, and it's very hard. He's like he really became like a member of the family in a sense, and he was just some.
Was Lindsey Graham very short, or is Trump just a very big man? Height. How tall was Lindsey Graham? Oh, I'm taller than Lindsey Graham, which is nice. God, there's a photo of him being dwarfed by Netanyahu. Such a just repugnant man to look at because of his general behavior.
Buddy, that was very special. You don't have people.
He's calling them. That's why it's such shit sound quality.
People like that. You don't see him often.
Yeah, and Mr. President, I know that after that rough patch where you were at loggerheads with each other, trying to become the next president, you eventually started patching things up by going golfing. Do you have a story to tell us a little bit about what it was like when it was just the two of you driving around a golf course alone?
Well, he loved golf. He just loved it. He worked hard at it, and it was really a passion of his, and he was getting better all the time. But he was.
Were you teaching him? Were you teaching him how to play golf?
Let me put it this way. He loved it, but he wasn't born to be a golfer, okay? He was born to be a politician, but not a golfer. But he loved it, and it was great. And we'd talk about mostly politics and talk about things they're doing, and a very powerful force when he got behind something.
The funny thing is about Lindsey Graham's political legacy is he achieved nothing that he actually wanted to. He just killed lots of people. He was just a miserable guy. The ladybug's 8 inches off his height. That may be true. I can't confirm that.
And I know he thought golfing with you, it was the most intriguing, fun thing that he could ever do. And he would also mix the perfect things he loved so much. And that was work and fun and being with.
Do you know what's also kind of quite weird about Lindsey Graham? You know, he had no life outside of politics. So he literally just went around the world, like, meeting people, because normally politicians would take some time off on a weekend. But obviously, because you're able to find male sex workers anywhere in the world, Lindsey Graham was fine to spend his weekends jetting off to wherever. It is quite weird. He is a very weird man. A very, very odd, short, stubby little man, as someone just described him.
With somebody with great influence like yourself, and I know that on the top of his mind was the war in Iran. I know you're going to be talking about that today with the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. and you're going to be, we hear that you're talking right now with leaders on Iran, but Iran has come out publicly and said, we're not talking to the U.S. We're going to pause as long as they're paused.
We are talking a little while ago because.
So could you tell me who you're talking to, Mr.
Do I ever do book recommendations? The wonderful violist, exceptional or mediocre violist, depending on what platform they are on, has compiled a wonderful resource list that has recommendations, which I think should come up with ! resources. But if it doesn't, you can join the Discord, which has it.
President?
For some reason, we can be in the midst of a beautiful discussion, and they'll come out and say, we're not talking, or we didn't discuss nuclear. Well, that's all we discussed because they'll never have a nuclear weapon. They understand that. And we have had some very good talks, and very interesting with Lindsey. He was very much a hawk, as you would say, on Iran. And over the last few weeks, I would say that he became like, if you could make a deal, it's better making a deal in this case than just destroying the rest of the country. We've destroyed most of it, frankly. But he was somebody that said it's a good time to make a deal, nice time to make a deal.
What does a good deal look like?
Now, I wouldn't say necessarily he feels that way about.
No, I think Lindsey Graham just died. Lindsey Graham was 71 years old, you know. A lot of people were like, oh, he was maybe killed at a Russian drone facility or this or that. Lindsey Graham was such an old man who didn't look particularly healthy. And when you spend your life filled with hate, you know.
Ukraine, he's very militant about. I mean, Lindsey liked war, to be honest with you, okay? You know?
Fucking hell! Lindsey Graham liked war.
Said, you're a nice guy. How come you like war so much? He was a guy that liked war. I joke.
Can you hear this, by the way? Is the like volume okay, or do you need me to turn it up?
Say, and there's nothing funny about it, but he's never seen a war that he didn't like. He was very much into that, and for good reason. He felt that way. Some other people feel that way, but
if anyone's description of me after my death is "I love war" is just insane. It is genuinely just an insane thing. That you loved war.
But he was very much, very strong on the military. And I built a great military, and he helped me. We built it during my first term, and we use it now. But I built a great military.
His sister Darlene was interviewed recently. You probably saw that with Sean Hannity. And she said he didn't love war. He loved peace, and he loved the end of war.
Darlene told him, I love the peace, but Mr. Trump always told it right. He always said he was always a very frank man. He was a very frank man. He told them how much I just love war.
Sometimes war is necessary. You say that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. There are reports now that Netanyahu is going to talk to you about ongoing excavation at Pickaxe Mountain, construction vehicles entering and exiting tunnels, paving new access roads, satellite imagery and intel.
It's also so funny that his sister, and I don't know if he has any other family, but anyway, his sister was like, Lindsey Graham, he loved peace, and trying to whitewash his image, and Trump is just like, nah, he just like loved war. He just loved war. He was a person who loved war. He never saw a war that he didn't like.
Indicates that Iran is actively constructing and fortifying Pickaxe Mountain. How will we respond?
Well, I don't need Bibi to tell me that. Bibi's telling me that because he wants me to stay involved. I mean, I don't necessarily. We have the finest, because of Space Force, we have the greatest cameras in the world focused on. We know exactly what's going on. But no, I heard Bibi announce that. I said, why don't you just tell it to me? Why do you have to announce it to the world? I know exactly what's going on at Pickaxe. It's not a big problem. We took out their nuclear sites, and we'll have to take out Pickaxe if we don't make a deal. If we don't make a deal, we'll take it out very easily.
Right. And so, Mr. President, Netanyahu, as you said,
So it's pretty obvious they want a deal now, which is why it's cooled down. I mean, Iran probably thinks that they're gonna... I don't know. We'll have to see. You should watch Matt Bernstein's latest video about Lindsey Graham. Maybe I will. Not today, but maybe.
Exactly what he's going to say, Mr. President. We got to keep this war going. At the same time, I know that there are Republican officials in Washington, D.C. who have an eye on November, and they're going, Mr. President, you got to wrap it up. So you got two different messages. Wrap it up, keep going. Wrap it up, keep going.
Well, I have a third message because I have many Republicans that want me to keep going and do it. I mean, we pounded the hell out of them. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. Their Army's been really badly mortified. So many other, you look at their defense, their air defense, it's gone. All of their radar is gone. Most of their weaponry is gone. Most of their manufacturing is gone.
Lindsey Graham didn't actually die. If you're wondering how Darlene is going to replace him, Lindsey Graham transitioned to Darlene. And out of respect, I will no longer be using the term Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, and you look but I have some...
Yeah, also very, very, very sexual language. They love talking about penetrating, pounding, all of this stuff.
Republicans said, well, why don't we hit them harder? So, it's like at some point... So you have a lot of competing factions. You have a group of people that wanted to be obliterated in the truest sense of the word. Then you have a group that says, this is actually a good time to make a deal for them. If they don't make a deal, then I go back and I finish the job. But that's going to take them forever to rebuild. Already, it'll take them many years to ever to rebuild. And if I go back and finish up the job, as some people would like, with the bridges, very easy. I could take out most of their bridges in less than an hour. Less than an hour. But, it takes them 10 years to build a bridge. Bridges take the longest, and power plants are second. I can knock out the power plants. Within one day, all of their power plants would be gone. And I let them know that, with negotiations. I said, look, people want me to do that. I think I get almost the same thing out of it as doing it. But the problem is they'll never be able to, I think about 91 million people without power, without bridges, would have to live. And It
is kind of... you know how people talk about how crazy, and things like memory TV exist to show you how crazy Arabic media supposedly is. American media is like my president announcing war crimes and the elite media class just going, are you going to do that? Yeah, no pushback, just nice.
Very, very delicate balance. Yeah. So I think we have a very strong position right now. They know I'm going to do that if they don't make a deal. The bridges are going to be gone. Literally in less than I would say in 2 hours, most of the major bridges will all be gone. And the power plants in one day. And, if I can avoid doing that, I'd like to do that. The hardest thing to build is a power plant. The longest thing to build is a bridge. Takes a long time to rebuild and build bridges. And that's what I used to do for a living, construction. It takes years to build these things. And
well, I don't think that that's actually true. It takes years to build bridges when the premise of you building bridges is scamming, okay? When you're like, your plan is to just sort of scam people and you want to long it out as much as possible.
And knock them out in 1 hour, and it takes many years. It really decimates a country. So those are the two big things. And then there's always the desalinization plants. And who am I hurting there? I'm hurting the people. So I'm not looking to do that. I just want, very simply, they cannot have...
They already did strike a desalination plant, though.
...have a nuclear weapon. Very simple. And they've agreed to that, essentially. We have to get them to, make it formal. Right. But they've agreed to it.
How do you
and
feel
why
about...
wouldn't they? Tell me, why wouldn't they?
Oh, look, no one can figure out the Iranians. It's been 50 years. So pickaxe...
The Iranians. There is some deep secret within the Iranian people that no one can figure out, aside from the millions of Iranians and the thousands of experts in Iran who dedicate their lives to writing and thinking about it.
Years, you're right about that. And for 50 years, other presidents should have done this job, and they never did anything. Obama actually paid them billions of dollars, the opposite. He thought he could bribe his way into friendship. And they went out and tried to develop nuclear missiles and nuclear weapons from it. So, for 50 years, every single president should have done something, or other countries, you could say, too, not just the United States. So is the United States. But for 50 years, other presidents, you know, they kept saying 47, 47. So it's really 50 because they've been saying 47 years for 3 years. But for 50 years, other presidents should have done this job. Would have been a lot easier. They would have been.
Wait, what's he talking about? It's really 50 years. No, it's not. It's 47 years. This is not the 50th anniversary of the Islamic Revolution in Iran. What a strange statement of it's really 50 years because they've been saying it for 3 years. What is he talking about? It is a specific reference to when the Islamic Republic, the Islamic Revolution succeeded in Iran.
Less competence. Well, now, when I took out General Soleimani, my first term, that set them back because I think they would have fought in a different manner. I'll tell you what, if he were around, maybe he would have had the nuclear. We stopped the nuclear with the B-2, and I stopped it also when I terminated that horrible deal made by Obama. They call it the Iran nuclear deal. It was the worst, dumbest deal. It was a road to a nuclear weapon. And if they had a nuclear weapon, you wouldn't have Israel around. Frankly, if I weren't president of the United States, Israel today would not exist.
So it's been said by military people, you know better, that for the 14 days that you hit him was road.
And cars driving on the dry riverbed next to a blown up bridge in Iran. So there is some bridges that are way smaller than anyone is thinking that can be rebuilt in less than a month. It depends. 100%. You can rebuild some of them. And I've seen some of them being restored. Of course, destroying all of Iran's bridges would be disastrous because it's just a massive attack on civilian infrastructure.
Relatively surgical, was focused basically around the strait. But to amp it up, you needed more of your material in the region. And
sorry, apparently I can't show you this because it has no translation. But apparently Javier Milei has just said, a company that pollutes the river, and where is the damage? Where is the damage? That company can pollute the river as much as it wants. That's what smashing left-wing politics looks like.
And it's arrived. Has Admiral Cooper given you the type of plan that you believe will be effective in essentially destroying their nuclear, stopping their funding of proxies, as well as their ballistic program? Have you seen that on paper?
Well, it's already
Has it
been
convinced you it
mostly
can
done.
work?
Look, we have a blockade up there right now, and only ships that we want to get through. Iran doesn't control the strait. We control the strait. Now, they can drop a couple of mines in there and screw things up, but we control the strait. Our Navy is incredible. Not one ship has gotten to Iran during any time where we had the blockade. So we had the blockade. Right. We had the confines of a deal. I set the blockade back, but I didn't take it away. The ships were not far away.
But ships are not getting through now.
And then I had to bring it back. But no, this is done with the Admiral. He's great. This is all done with the Admiral. He's a great guy. General.
To be fair, about Javier Milei, that is kind of the standard practice of pretty much every government. Javier Milei just openly announces it.
Mr. President, are we right that the no merchant ships are getting through right now? Maybe 3 or 4 a day when you need about 100?
The only ones that get through are the ones that we want to get through. They're the only ships that get through, Brian. We have a blockade that's so powerful that nobody can get through. They tried. 3 or 4 of them tried over the last week. But, you know, we opened the blockade because we had the confines of a deal. So we did it. And then we put it back because they broke the deal. They break the deal. We cannot have them break deals anymore.
Mr. President, let's talk about the Fauci diaries. Senator Rand Paul released more than one.
Nah. Israel didn't normalize war crimes. Israel also. By the way, I am if you want to hear my biggest prediction about Palestine-related academia for the tiny amount of you who might be specifically interested in that, someone is going to write a book about the 1982 invasion of Lebanon as the most important thing to understand the Gaza genocide because of the way that Sharon did what Sharon did there, basically. I think that was really when things were, for Israel, that mass killing like that. But, like, go look up what they did to Beirut. Also, during Trump's first term, by the way, Trump actually openly stated that he... Trump openly stated killing Soleimani is technically a war crime.
1,000 pages of this private typed diary entries, many of them of Dr. Anthony Fauci during
No, of course people care about Palestine, but specifically Palestine-related academia, which is quite a specific thing.
COVID. He was saying one thing in his diary entry, saying...
Gia Rizvi, you are 100% wrong. Trump has just told me that he controls the Strait of Hormuz and Iran doesn't. So what are you talking about?
Something else publicly. For instance, the origin of COVID. He was saying it was from the wet market, not the Wuhan lab. He was writing something different. He was saying he never talked about closing schools. He's writing that he talked to Cuomo and he talked to Gavin Newsom about closing schools in New York and in California. So a tale of two different things, and he's going to be in front of Congress tomorrow testifying. What is your reaction to this? What is your takeaway?
Well, if you remember early on when it first came, I always said it came from the Wuhan labs. I never changed my tune on that. I think he said something different. He was a much bigger player in the Biden administration. I grew tired of him. He was, you remember that, you know, he wanted...
To be fair to Trump, I too have grown tired of Anthony Fauci. I grow weary of Anthony Fauci's mad ramblings and ravings.
to close everything down. I allowed it to be up to the governors, and most or many of the Republican governors didn't want to close. And I, you know, being somewhat of a federalist, the federalist theory.
Okay, I don't want to listen to him talk about Fauci if that's what he's going to talk about now.
The
American people. In this...
Thank you, Steve, for that.
Oh,
Steve,
absolutely.
Thank you. You know, Operation Warp...
Look at this guy just like glowing on his face because Trump said, thank you, Steve. Jesus Christ. Be alarmist and plans behind the scenes. No, I'm wearisome of Dr. Fauci these days. The Wuhan lab they always talk about, that is a lab run by the US. Is it? I grow weary of the Fauci. Fauci, Mr. Fauci, I have become tired of your ramblings and ravings. Oh. What was I gonna talk about? What was I gonna pull up? Oh yes, the Ukraine, Iran. Okay, right, we'll do the Ukraine, Iran thing, but I'm just gonna run and pee, so I will put on some music in hopes that at least some of you stay. But that's okay if you're busy. Intifada Riyadawad. I need to pee badly. Really bad, actually.
أنا القدسي من البلدة القديمة، أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة، أنا القدسي من البلدة القديمة، أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي من البلدة القديمة، أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة، أنا من القدسي من البلدة القديمة، أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي. الشوارع في المزارع في المصانع في الطرقات، في الشوارع في المزارع في المصانع في الطرقات، سأبقى أناضل 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 لتحرير الأرض والإنسان، سأبقى أناضل 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 لتحرير الأرض والإنسان. أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي، أنا من القدسي. من القدس للبلدة القديمة أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة أنا من القدس للبلدة القديمة أنا من شوارع فلسطين الحبيبة أنا من القدس أنا من القدس أنا من القدس أنا من القدس.
I have very sore legs.
في الشوارع في المزارع في المصانع في الطرقات في الشوارع في المزارع في المصانع.
Annam al-Qudsi. Annam al-Qudsi. Piss Kunzler. Yes, yes, yes. Hello, Tony. Chris always going to a separate room to pee instead of just nonchalantly wetting himself. That is a good idea, that I could nonchalantly wet myself. I don't know if any of you picked it up. There's no way you would have, but I have got a wet patch on my leg. But it is from, and I can prove it. It is from when I open this bottle of water, because it has like a long thing in it, always gets water on it, and I let it drip on my leg to cool me down. So I didn't pee myself in case that ever comes up. I've been told by Tony Soprano Lover that I must react to something. So hold on, I'll show you it. I'll show you what I've been sent. This is apparently the most important thing of the day.
Can we please stop addressing Ilhan Omar as a congresswoman? I mean, she's literally a fraud. This is a person who came to the USA to corrupt its people and resources.
Preach, 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 preach.
She went from negative $65,000 net worth to over $30 million.
I don't know the Patreon you posted in the update about the podcast video shows the extra videos in full audio. What do you mean? What? But the Patreon link you guys posted in the update about the podcast video shows that. What do you mean, Dobby? What do you mean?
And denies it. She denies it, and she blames it on an accounting error. That's not all. Then there's the winery with no clear location, no wine at all, no phone number, no visible operations. It seems abnormal, doesn't it? And then she proceeds to insult the reporter asking about these things, asking her to explain it to the people. And on top of all of these unknown things, she calls...
I've decided to do this in case I receive a ban for what she is up to.
World War II, World War XI. So how is someone
Wait, what did that say?
To explain it to the people. And on top of all of these unknown things, she calls World War II, World War XI. So how is someone...
She calls World War II, World War XI.
So fucking stupid, able to become an important topic in this country. She is literally the trending topic in the United States of America. It blows my mind. She is the opposite of everything that we stand for in this country, and she literally married her brother. We do not marry our brothers here. We don't marry siblings.
That depends where you are in the US. You're allowed to show. It's her feet and such. I don't know if it is allowed to show.
Here we do not do that. Can we please stop?
I don't want to show because, yeah, I don't want to. God, this is the slop the pro-Israel cloud pushes on young conservative men. The target audience of Israel's 8th Front War campaign. Translation, watch me make sexual gestures while I tell you how Ilhan Omar is a subhuman terrorist. I mean, yeah, good point. Yes. I'm sure it is allowed on YouTube, but I will be covering that up. We do not need to... rude. That's crude. I shouldn't be made to watch this. I shouldn't be made to watch this stuff. No. Wild racism on display. It has to be bait. Is it bait? Yeah, I'm doing halal streaming, I guess. That's what I'm doing today. This is Nux Taku. Yeah. World War XI is what I'm declaring the Iran war, the amount of times Trump has started and restarted it. Okay, now we've finished with the lady who's taught us a lot about Ilhan Omar and her wicked views of the world, which are certainly wicked. We have an update for In Memory of Drac. The Dow is doing well, so that's for him. The S&P 500 is up, the NASDAQ is up, and Dow is up.
As diplomatic efforts appear to ramp up between the US and Iran, Tehran is now embroiled in...
Was that them? Why are they getting emails?
...in another conflict. In a stunning development, Iran claims Ukraine attacked one of its vessels in the Caspian Sea over the weekend. Now, Ukraine's president says drones targeted several ships which were transporting military cargo from Iran to Russia. That's the story out of Ukraine. Iran says at least one person was killed and 3 injured and is now threatening Ukraine. This all comes as US military operations against Iran do appear to be on hold. But despite the US signalling new diplomatic efforts, Tehran insists Washington will not determine the timing of this war. Look, from Europe to the Gulf, we are following all sides of this evolving story for you. Today we've got Claire Sebastian in London. Eleni Giokos is in Dubai. Let's start, if we can, Claire.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty, this is kind of like a wild story. I don't really, I mean, I can see Ukraine would be like, well, Russia is supplying, well, they'd say like Russia is being supplied with weapons, but it hasn't said which direction it was going in. And Iran is just claiming it's a commercial vessel.
With Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi warning that this incident in the Caspian Sea cannot go unanswered. What is going on there, and why would Kyiv risk getting mixed up in another conflict?
Yeah, Becky, I think it's a calculated risk for Ukraine here. I just want to be clear, we're not 100% sure at this point what exactly happened. We have different accounts from different sides. Ukraine says it hit cargo ships that were under international sanctions, as well as a sort of missile boat, a military ship. It's not saying which countries they were flagged under or owned by. It's saying they were involved in transporting military equipment between Iran and Russia. Those were the exact words of President Zelensky over the weekend. Iran, of course, on the other hand, is saying that one cargo ship, civilian cargo ship, was hit and one seafarer was killed and several injured, and the ship was on its way from Russia to Iran. So we have different accounts there, but why would Ukraine take the risk here, I think, is a really big question. Look, on the one hand, the position of Zelensky is that Iran has effectively already attacked Ukraine through its supply to Russia of Shahed drones and then the subsequent licenses, ballistic missiles also reported.
But Iran would then make the argument that they've effectively been attacked because they've been collaborating with protecting US assets in the region with the Gulf states, would be the Iranian argument, right? The inverse of that.
And so that is his sort of official position, that this is a legitimate target. But I think the timing here is really interesting because, of course, Zelensky is now going into this big diplomatic week. He's in the UK today. He's heading, we think, to Washington tomorrow to meet with President Trump. And these strikes do allow him to sort of re-argue the prowess of Ukraine's deep strikes to help.
To be fair, that is probably the best... That is probably the best argument in terms of why he'd do it right before the meeting with Trump, to be like, look, the European nations won't even help you, but I'll help you. I'll get involved against Iran. And maybe that's why he's with Netanyahu right before he's with Zelensky.
With this flip.
During that first Israeli surprise attack. Yeah, potentially. I don't know if there were Ukrainian operators inside. I know there were some in Syria, apparently. But not okay to hold up ships without killing people. Yeah, good point. No, good point. It is a massive contradiction. War to be a sovereign state just for them to be a proxy for the US. I mean, in some ways, yes. I mean, they all obviously retain a right to fight against, if you're invaded, you retain a right to fight against it. But, it's just been this grinding, never-ending situation. However, if you're looking at the news, it does actually kind of look like Ukraine is for the first time making the war have quite significant consequences for average Russian people, which is kind of the thing apparently that has shielded Russia previously, that now Russia may have fuel shortages as a result of Ukrainian strikes on oil refineries and such. So, I don't know.
With the narrative around the sort of patron-client relationship that we used to have with Ukraine when it visited its Western allies, towards the sort of mutuality of these relationships. And of course, it helps bring Ukraine up the priority list, especially in the eyes of President Trump, if he sees that Ukraine is now potentially able to help weaken Iran through strikes like this, and also the danger of the burgeoning military relationship between Russia and Iran and how that could affect the course of the war with Iran. So I think all of that helps bolster those arguments for Zelensky going in to a critical diplomatic week and, of course, especially a critical meeting in the White House.
And what do we understand happened in the Caspian Sea, and how concerned should we be at this point about this conflict, that between the US and Iran, expanding into a new front?
A realistic thing I see happening is Iran banning Ukrainian shipping from the Gate of Hormuz, but I have literally zero idea of how much or what Ukraine gets out of the Gate of Hormuz. I can't tell you that answer as well. Why the fuck is Ukraine getting involved? I think the answer lies in showing to America that it's a reliable ally because Ukraine needs American support, basically. I think that's it. That's it. And Trump has been quite close by... that Ukraine has always been quite close... that Trump has been closer to Iran, closer to Russia throughout his second term in office especially. But that hasn't borne any fruit that he'd hoped for, so, yeah.
It certainly has all the characteristics that could happen. The Caspian Sea, of course, has been used to connect Iran and Russia for a long time, trading across it. And what Iran is saying about this incident, they're saying that a ship that was coming from...
I actually do not know the answer to that. You could be right, intrapersonal. That it could be the intrapersonal, that you could be right that they rely heavily on the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know the answer, but frankly, I don't know. I don't know the answer. Is it Ukraine that needs US support or Zelensky? What do you mean? I mean to continue the war as it is, I guess.
Astrakhan at the northern end of the Caspian Sea was traveling carrying steel to Iran. Anzali was the port, Bandar Anzali at the southern end of the Caspian Sea, about 600 miles away, about 1,000 kilometers. And that's what the Iranians say was struck, a vessel simply coming from Russia to them carrying raw steel, and one person was killed and 3 were injured. Now, President Zelensky in Ukraine, his understanding of their strike, a Ukraine strike, is different. He says that this was an Iranian ship.
Russia has pretty good relations with Israel as well. Both of them really do. Russia's not really that heavily on the Iranian side. Apparently they provided them with some intel about what to strike. But more importantly, apparently the most important thing that Iran has gained access to in recent years when it comes to targeting is not from is not from someone else's intel. It's from a Chinese satellite that apparently they bought.
Or a ship bringing Iranian weapons to Russia. And as we know, Russia has been using over the last more than 4 years Shahed and other types of drones.
No, I think that that you're right about that. I just think that the whole thing about the Ukraine war is like, obviously the West does not give a shit about what happens to Ukraine. They literally just want to use it as a way to degrade Russia. But even then, like, realistically, the claim that Russia is like a major threat to Europe, I don't know.
Drones that have...
And yeah. The arguments I saw about this when I was reading articles is like, apparently initially Iran might have sent a team of drone operators to teach Russia how to use drones, but I don't know if I really believe that much. Maybe there were some Iranians who were better at it, but the whole thing is like, how would the Iranians be that much better at it? How would Iranians be that much better at it? Because they hadn't really had I guess they had practical experience. Russia uses Israel as a way to avoid sanctions and get into the global market they were previously ousted from. Wouldn't surprise me if they used the UAE for the exact same thing as well. That's kind of what the UAE has always done. Do you know prior to 9/11 that the UAE was the main point of link for the Taliban for all over the world?
Been made in Iran and supplied to Russia. Russia's learnt from the...
To be fair, actually, maybe Russia is actually a big threat to Europe because European militarism is so dumb. Like the European, you know Europe's military. If Europe united as one military, right, they could spend the same amount as China and have a more efficient military. We currently, as like a continent, spend pretty much the same amount as China and have no semblance of an efficient military. We waste all of our money on like random shit bought from random companies. It's quite funny, actually. The only countries in Europe that really have like an advanced military, I think, is Poland. Poland has like probably the most competent military out of everyone in Europe.
Those drones augmented them, supplemented them.
And yes, sanctions are 100% problematic as an idea. The problem with sanctions, okay, is that sanctions are like this thing of basically you try and target the population apparently, but really you try and target the government, but really all it is a theoretical guess that maybe you can make that government fall through targeted sanctions. Germany and France, yeah. Even Germany's, all Europeans have like way too big militaries with way too many soldiers that kind of just do nothing. We spend so much on salaries and pensions of soldiers. The first batch of Ajax fighting vehicles. I've never seen that. Europe has no common language. Good luck uniting. Europe does have one common language, which is just like, I don't know, shooting each other with guns. Europe's pretty good at that. It's so funny as well when people are like, yes, the damned Arabs and the Middle Easterners, they can do nothing but fight with one another. Those people of the Middle East, they do nothing but fight. And it's like, what happened in Europe? What happened in Europe in the 20th century? Something good?
Heavily
oh yeah, Finland has like a really advanced cyber-related stuff or something, doesn't it? Finland has like quite an advanced cyber hacking shit. They got computers and shit in Finland, I think.
On Iran's support for weapons to be used in Ukraine. So from President Zelensky's point of view, that was a legitimate target. And the Ukrainians, for about the past 8 or 9 months, have been targeting Russian facilities inside the Caspian Sea. They've hit an oil terminal there, as well as some other shipping. But the crunch point of what you're saying here is, does this escalate the war? And if you listen to what Iranian leaders are saying, we've heard from the spokesman at the foreign ministry in Tehran and other senior Iranian officials saying Ukraine should not expect to get away with this. They should expect there to be a response. And one senior parliamentarian in Iran said, the US and Israel have learnt that lesson. So Iran...
That is a great point about Islamic militant terror attacks, that 90% of the victims, or victims are other Muslims. I would assume that most of the victims of actual Islamic militancy right now are Africans. Is that correct? Like specifically African Muslims would be the biggest victims in recent years of, would be the biggest victims of Islamic militancy. I would assume it's in Africa generally. Finland's defense industry is kind of crazy ever since the Winter Wars. Yeah, they got computers and shit, as Stupid Angry Idiot just pointed out. I just mentioned they got computers and shit. Yeah. 10% is apparently the most... I think the point that the Abundant Apples was making was that the people who are most generally targeted by Islamic militants would probably be other Muslims, generally, and that people hyperfixate on the smallest amount of it because they don't want to really have a conversation about it. We don't overspend on the military in Ireland, and we never have hear the end of it from the EU. They're gagging to chip away at our neutrality and sell us Germans and Austrians. And the funny thing is German weapons are kind of shit. Al-Qaeda ruined Syria. I mean, the major issue with Syria was, people were pretty angry at the Assad government, and Assad probably could have changed and done some things differently. He made the choice not to. The protests continued, and then, unfortunately, foreign mercenaries and weapons continued to flow in, and then for some reason Assad spent the rest of his time playing fucking video games instead of ruling his country, allegedly. I don't think he actually was playing video games, but he didn't fix his country. Yeah. German weapons are good, bro. Nah, mate. BAE Systems. I love England. We have to do patriotism in this chat, or I'm going to Andy Burnham's hell cage.
is very clearly signaling that it would choose a military response to Ukraine. And in that context, suddenly the war between the US and Iran and in the Gulf just balls westwards and has a whole other...
Didn't a lot of people think... I feel like a lot of people thought the First World War wasn't going to happen. Wasn't going to happen, but even as the First World War began, people were like, oh, it won't be as big as people are going to make out. So who fucking knows? Everyone who predicts that there won't be a world war, they're probably going to be right. But, you know, anytime you mention this kind of stuff, it's yeah. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, chat room. Good morning to you. Turkey has a huge defense industry. Go ask Syrians in Syria what they think of Assad. Yeah, plenty of them are not going to be best pleased with him at all. Plenty will not like Daesh either. Plenty will not like any of these organizations. Plenty will be regretful about what's unfolded there over the last few years. There were some who will be happy about the fall of Assad, or many who are happy about the fall of Assad. But I think, unfortunately, the fact is the people. It's like the Iran situation. Intervention and the way that the West handles these countries is never actually of the interest of what's going on with them. Like, let's be real here. Like, Assad had chemical weapons, no doubt, but those were made as like a counterbalance to Israel having nuclear weapons. We do just have this nuclear-armed state that does as it pleases to the rest of the region, and if we were really willing to intervene and make things better, we would intervene against them as well and not sell them unlimited weapons.
Potential theater of military operation for the Iranians. They haven't done anything yet.
It's specifically, I don't know if it's specifically Africans, but it would make sense that Boko Haram and ISIS in Africa. I looked it up because we have politicians here in Denmark calling for Muslim states in the Middle East to do more against Islamic terror. But the Muslim states in Africa and the Middle East are the ones that literally put lives in the front line against those terrorists and fight them head on. The countries that we see as enemies like Iran and the UAE. Yeah, you know what's funny as well? The UAE backed Haftar in Libya. When Haftar was in Libya, Haftar took over the eastern province of Libya when the people who the UAE was trying to back Haftar against were fighting against the Islamic State. He literally used that time to consolidate and take oil fields. It's actually kind of crazy. And the UAE, by the way, has a pretty mixed policy when it comes to Islamic militants, in the sense of it justifies a lot of what it does, but there are Islamic militants in many of the coalitions that they're affiliated with. I think Haftar actually has some militant Salafist groups, in my understanding, if I remember correctly. I just repeated the same two things that was pointless, but I'm pretty sure that those are the things. Syria was and still is a doomed cause. I don't know if I'd speak with such certainty. There is always a hope within me that things will get better, and I don't know how foolish that is. Do you have any good examples of that? I could use it for my script tomorrow. Yeah, there's the thing of Israel making a big song and dance out of treating ISIS fighters, which is the only thing I really know about.
They're speaking about it. In the past, when they've spoken about it,
yeah,
they do follow
retaliation.
through.
Let's talk about the new Zelensky.
By the way, this Brett McGurk guy is a fucking idiot. He was the guy who was a big architect of the Hug Bibi policy. The UAE funds the RSF in Sudan 100%.
Factor, if you will. Ukraine this weekend attacking this Iranian vessel in the Caspian Sea. This is a route for much of Iran's trade with Russia. Iran responding with warnings. The new one coming overnight from an Iranian regional governor is Ukraine, too, may soon come to understand that Iran does not let actions go unanswered. What does this do?
Kate, this is first of all, let's step way back. Iran has been supporting Russia in its war against Ukraine directly. They provide Shahed drones. They provide technology. Russia now has a factory producing these Iranian Shahed drones, which allows Iran to prosecute its war. This has been going on.
What's really funny is if Palestinian militants were killing Americans as a result of, you know, well, actually, no, we don't even need to go that far. What's really funny is Brett McGurk is I assume he's going on to legitimize why Ukraine did this. My country, the UK, aids and abets Israel to a far greater extent than Iran is aiding and abetting aiding and abetting Iran. Or maybe one might make the same argument if the spy flight thing is real. I've seen some places report that, but others have reported more that the not spy flights, but we're providing them with satellite. When it comes to us, we fly spy flights over Gaza. So why is it that we treat people who try and engage in direct activism to prevent genocide as, evil, when this guy's like, now you can blow up ships on the basis of it?
For years. And Zelensky, about 3 days ago, said that the Ukrainians struck a ship in the Caspian Sea carrying military material between Russia and Iran. Iran is now claiming that this is basically an act of war, and Iran is now threatening to attack Ukraine. So this is how these two storylines are coming together. But the cooperation between Russia and
So Golani's name, or Ahmed al-Shara's name, comes from the fact that he is from the Golan. That's why he took the nom de guerre Golani, I believe. His opinion now is that he will be able to get back the... He's lying. What he'll do is he'll normalize relations with Israel in return for an Israeli withdrawal from the Golan, from what it took of the Golan Heights when he came to power. He will cede all of the territory in the Golan Heights that was taken in 1967, which, by the way, was actually Assad's father's fault, apparently, because he was defense minister at the time and he fucked it up really badly. I think it's something to do with he pushed the idea that, I think it's Konaitra had fallen when it hadn't. I think that's why that happened. Now, I may be wrong about that, and someone's more than willing to correct me if they can provide me a source.
And Iran has been going on for some time. But this will be a topic in the Oval Office when Zelensky meets with President Trump. Totally different dynamic than that infamous meeting about 18 months ago. Now Ukraine arguably has the upper hand. There's a sanctions bill pending still in the Senate. And Zelensky's coming with some cards. And he's saying he's going to lay out for the president his information on what Russia is doing to actually support Iran in its conflict against us.
He is, by the way, he is definitely from the Golan Heights. He's not from Iraq. Look, al-Shara said that while he largely disagreed with his father ideologically, they both shared a commitment to defending the Palestinians. Besides the displacement of his grandfather and his family from the Golan Heights, al-Shara said the Second Intifada had an impact on his life choices. Fair play. Well, actually, not fair play. That is not an endorsement of joining any militant Islamist organization.
So this is how these two strands come together. The cooperation between Russia, Iran, and China is a larger backdrop to everything we're talking about day by day here, Kate. And that'll be a very important meeting in the Oval Office this week.
Yeah, I mean, do you call them these...
Why are these people saying Ukraine has the upper hand? Because recently, if you read about it, they are inflicting consequences on the Russian people, which is potentially what they think might happen and achieve, what they think might be able to achieve what they want. But yes, he is from the Golan Heights. Like his family is from there. That's not just Wikipedia where I've seen that. I've seen it elsewhere. But no, I don't think, by the way, I don't think he's going to do positive things for Syria, by the way. I don't. Am I crazy, or is this set a dangerous precedent where Russia might say, if Ukraine can attack ships supplying us, then we can do the same to Europeans or Americans supplying Ukraine? Maybe, but I would assume that they're not going through the Caspian Sea. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I'm not sure why they would be supplying specifically through the Caspian Sea. Is the Caspian Sea even a sea? It's not a sea, is it? It's a lake. That is outrageous. I cannot believe that they call it the Caspian Sea. I don't think Ukraine would be going through the Caspian Sea, though. I don't know, though, so... Islamic State groups are killing Palestinians for Israel and Gaza. Yes. But I thought the Jolani thing was some distant relation. No. Jolani is deeply... genuinely, he is from the Golan Heights. That's why he's called it. That's why it took it as a nom de guerre. I love saying nom de guerre, so now I'm, Has a connection to the Mediterranean. It's way too big to be a lake. It's a lake. He will get Syria into Eurovision. Maybe. Lakes and seas are the same thing. I'm not making a joke. That's actually true. Stupid angry idiot, I'm up to here with your sick jokes. It's an inland sea, salt water and everything. No, it's not. It's a lake, apparently. That's what Wikipedia told me. So, and that's the only place I trust about information in the world. But yeah, apparently, I mean, I don't know how much I trust this. It's coming from AMK Mapping, who's like a big Ukraine mapper. Anyway, he says here, I spoke to 4 different sources knowledgeable about this matter. The threat from Iran was issued by the Ukrainian GER, notifying the military of the potential threat. The threat is related to a launch site near the city of Tabriz, northwestern Iran. The report states that up to 3 medium-range ballistic missiles could be launched at military infrastructure facilities in Kyiv sometime in the next 48 hours. One source told me it's widely expected internally, presumably due to the Ukrainian attack on Iranian-linked vessel in the Caspian Sea. This confirms intelligence reports' validity beyond simple rumors. However, I still seriously doubt anything will actually happen. This seems like a precautionary measure to me rather than a genuine threat. Keep in mind this post is not meant to spread hype or misinformation. It is simply information that I received from sources who have been reliable in the past. So yeah, this is just apparently Ukraine-linked intel monitoring are talking about how they're potentially worried about Iran doing this. We'll see. I don't think it'll amount to much. And yes, Islamophobia is a massive part of the Gaza genocide and generally just portraying Palestinians as backwards. Wow, apparently nearly half... If you want to see how, like, Israel is botting social media, nearly half of Americans want Netanyahu arrested on US soil, poll finds. But if you were to go on social media, you'd see so many people pushing out stuff saying, oh, everyone loves Netanyahu in America, and those posts would probably do better on, The Black Sea is probably a lake too, is it? I don't know. No, it might actually be a sea. The Black Sea might be a sea. I don't know what a fucking sea is. Who knows what a sea is? This is for the geographers to decide. I am a simple man of history and wisdom and enlightenment and witchcraft and such. Is Iran not spreading itself thin? The US is. I don't know how it would be. Is Iran not spreading itself thin? I don't know. Damn, I'm al-Shara's age at the second intifada was my personal wake-up call. I mean, what I will say about that, Dusty, is it proves one thing. Anything can happen in your life. You can go from being someone who killed American soldiers to being the fucking president of Syria if you try hard enough and believe in yourself. African American Sea. Yes, I apologize for being racist and bigoted. What's an ocean then, Hugo Blah? No one knows. People don't know what oceans and lakes and seas are. I barely know what an oxbow lake is. Please spare me your nonsense. Apparently there is something brewing between Oman and Iran, which I love saying, Oman and Iran. And also, the leader of Oman is called Sultan Qaboos, or that was the former leader, Qaboos bin Sultan. I don't know if Qaboos it wouldn't be Sultan Qaboos who succeeded him, right? Haytham bin Tariq is who succeeded him, but Qaboos, which is like Qaboossi, was the former leader there. My lecturer, Mr. Marc Vallary, is the #1 expert in Oman in Exeter University. Great man with beautiful views of the world. Marc Vallary, love him. If you want to check out something about Oman, you should get involved. Do you think these wars will successfully be coupled before they end? I don't know. I'm not sure. Read this entire article out loud and educate us all then. The article is propaganda. No one really actually knows what a sea or an ocean or a lake is, or what an oxbow lake is. Qaboos, like the butt of a train. No idea. I think people can't drown in the Black Sea. You can't drown in the Dead Sea. Well, you definitely could. What if you had a brick and you fell in the Dead Sea and you were carrying a heavy load of, I don't know, olives or something? Are there big olive groves in Jordan? I know there are big ones in Palestine, but what if that happened? The Great Lakes. No one knows what lakes are. Please be quiet. Dhofar Revolution. Yeah, I know about the Dhofar Revolution. The Dhofar Revolution is really interesting. One time we did a quiz at university and we called ourselves the Dhofari Boys. because we found it quite funny. I've always wanted to make a video about the Dhofari Revolution because I don't know enough about it. We read one thing. Actually, a great book on this is called Monsoon Revolutions by Abdul Razak Takriti. That's the only thing I've actually read about it. But his book, Monsoon Revolutions, is apparently one of the best things to read about this. I've read one chapter, by the way. Republican sultans and empires in Oman. So him and Mr. Marc Valery are the experts in this. Drowning is a state of mind. Are lakes and locks the same thing? Morbert, these are the questions for the scientists of the future and AI in like 2 months. But non-Western media has reported that Russia has been slowly taking ground in the Donbass and Fortress Belt. But it wouldn't surprise me that expanding strikes on oil gas is multifaceted, hurt the economy, make Russian civs feel the war. That is exactly what it is. That's why Ukraine is doing it. That's also why Ukraine keeps striking the equivalent of like Russian Temu, which is wild berries. I don't know if any of you are familiar or have ever interacted with this. The Ukrainians keep striking this. It operates in Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Armenia, Turkey, Uzbekistan, and Georgia. I've been to one state where this operates, which is Uzbekistan. It does not operate in Tajikistan, which is surprising. But yeah, that they keep striking that to make them feel, it's to make Russian people feel the consequences, which is what Russia has relied on, like insulating the population from. That's basically it. That my workplace now appointed a chief AI officer. Yeah, it's me. And your new rule at work is you have to become a member 10 times over every hour that you watch. The Great Lakes were built from glacier melting. Lemon Mint Cat, do not speak with such confidence about issues that we do not understand. All biology is geology. Is that what the guy says? Belarus. I don't know if I said it right. Anyway, who cares? Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister Kazem Gharibabadi said in a televised interview that Oman had proposed bringing in a third country to clear mines from the southern part of the Strait of Hormuz, or the Gay of Hormuz, as was said earlier, but Tehran refused to allow it. Iran is making clear that it will not accept foreign military or security presence in the strait, even when presented with a limited demining operation aimed at restoring navigation. Tehran appears ready to discuss the reopening and management of shipping lanes, but only on the terms that preserve a decisive Iranian role in the security architecture of Hormuz. The statement also suggests that the real dispute is no longer only about whether navigation resumes, but about who is authorized to guarantee it. For Iran, allowing a third country to conduct demining operations could create a precedent for a broader and more permanent international naval presence. Gharibabadi's statement therefore fits the emerging Iranian doctrine. Hormuz is not merely a commercial waterway to be reopened after the war, but a strategic asset and an instrument of deterrence that Tehran does not intend to trade away in negotiations. Very interesting. So wait, apparently Iraqi National Security Advisor Qasim al-Aboudi claimed that cells belonging to Ukraine had carried out bombings, targeted government facilities, though he said further investigation was needed. Ukraine's foreign ministry has called the claims baseless and unsubstantiated. Apparently Ukraine has been calling them and rigging them up as well. Has been calling them up and urging de-escalation. Loch. Water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. That's in Civ 6, and Sean Bean says it. Doesn't he go, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink? We were. I think it is Sean Bean who says that. Why do I think Sean Bean has said that? Why have I made that up? Have I said that for no reason? Okay, sorry, right. There was a Babak tweet. Oh, no. Babak Vahad. Babak Vahad. I like this guy's name, Gharibabadi. I'm a big fan of that. Gharibabadi. Gharib Abadi says Iran and Oman have discussed creating a temporary shipping route through the Strait of Hormuz to replace the existing northern and southern lanes. They proposed a 50-50 arrangement with half the route under Iranian control and half under Omani control. Tehran rejected it. Iran's counterproposal is far more ambitious. The entire inbound route must be under Iranian control, along with the part of the outbound route. Only then would Tehran move to the next stage of negotiations. This is highly significant. Iran is not asking merely to participate in the management of Hormuz. It is seeking predominant control over access to the Gulf, ensuring that ships entering the waterway pass through a route subject to Iranian authority. Gharib Abadi's statement that Iran will not recognize the southern route, even for 1 hour, makes the position even clearer. Tehran is challenging not only the current navigation arrangement, but the legitimacy of any route operating independently of Iranian consent. In other words, Iran is trying to turn the reopening of Hormuz into a new and potentially permanent security architecture in which no vessel can enter the Gulf without passing under Iranian supervision. Wow. We'll have to see what will happen. But on that note, I will end the stream. Okay. If any of you are in the Discord, you can let me know your thoughts about doing the debate stuff. I could do it tomorrow. I could not do it tomorrow. I won't do it every day. I'll do it on slow news days. If it's a slow news day, we'll throw it up. If it's a fast news day, bam, 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 bam. I'm typing on my computer and shit. You know how it gets. They got computers up in Finland. But yes, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being kind and commenting and saying nice things and throwing your primes, your memberships. It is incredibly appreciated. I hope that you have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, there's a no politic thing up. It's just talking about memberships. But if you're a patron, don't worry at all. And even if you're not, don't worry at all. There'll still be shit for you guys to consume. I'll see you guys soon, though. Bye-bye.